Testing, can you hear me? Hamza, thank you for that. Can you hear me now? We need critical thinking. You should be able to hear me now. What is going on, guys? We are live right now. We're going to talk about how to manage election anxiety, tips for staying calm and focused during high stress times. I'm going to pull up a presentation in a little bit, and hopefully you find some of this stuff very useful. And at 8 p.m., we're going to have a live panel discussion. Right, and I have with me right now on my laptop the latest results. So we will talk about that later on in the stream. But for now, I want to talk about this presentation. So let's pull that up right now. Managing election anxiety. Tips for staying calm and focused during high stress times. We are live right now as the elections are going on. Some people really want a certain result. They really are attached to a certain candidate winning. They're really in fear of the other candidate that's going to win. But something that you must keep in mind is that at the end of the day, the person that will be elected is the person that these lobbyists are going to benefit off of, because they are funding both sides. If you watch this channel for a long time, before we started covering the new self-help type of content, we've covered a lot of politics, and we covered a lot about how lobbyists fund both sides, both the Democrats and the Republicans. But also during these times, we might be afraid of what could happen, like another Jan 6 event, whether and we've talked about that in the past, about the involvement of some, like, not to get too much into the logistics of it, but we've talked about on this channel, like, the involvement of some higher powers that may have been there, right? But you might be feeling stressed during this time because of the results and how people might react to it. Some people might start protesting. Hey, what's up, Antoine? Good to have you on. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to react in certain ways. Some people might even start reacting violently. But hopefully this presentation will help you feel better. You hopefully you find some stuff in this presentation that is going to benefit you. So let's get it started. Managing election anxiety, tips for staying calm and focused during high stress times. So the media loves to profit off of fear, right? Whether it's going to be on Fox News, where they're fear mongering about the Democrats, or on CNN or MSNBC, where they're going to be fear mongering against the Republicans. And you see it in alternative media or independent media as well. You see it on social media. People in the media love to fearmonger off of this because people are afraid of what would happen if the candidate that they don't want to win wins. All these things that they don't stand for are going to be pushed by these presidents or Congress. And whether you're in favor or against abortion or all these different issues, or whether you're afraid of certain wars happening, the media is going to be fear-mongering off of which candidate's going to be worse. And again, this includes alternative media. Like, even the ones that say that they don't support either side, some of them do focus more on attacking one side over the other because they know where their fan base is. All right. Politicians are also going to be using fear tactics to garner support against other candidates. Rather than running mainly off of policy, a lot of these politicians are going to be running based off of sales pitches and attacking the other side and saying, hey, you should vote for me because I'm not as bad as the other side. So the current state of the geopolitical world is sad. And this adds to how people are afraid. They don't want things to keep getting worse. We don't want as many wars going on around the world. We don't want that to keep going up. We want peace in the world. We want Palestine to be free. A lot of us, people want all this stuff to stop. And with the wrong person elected, they fear that these things are going to exacerbate, or the current state will continue, or things that are happening domestically, things that we don't like how the price of living keeps going up. We're afraid that if the wrong person is elected, then things will continue to get worse. Politics does affect our daily lives at the end of the day. All right, so let's understand election anxiety. The definition is stress and emotional responses triggered by election-related events and information. All right, that's, as we mentioned, the media exacerbates this. They make us fear the other side. And then we've all experienced an election before. If you're watching this video, I'm sure the majority of you have gone through your fair share of elections. And if you remember those times, nothing really fundamentally changes. Just as Joe Biden told his funders, things continue to get better for these corporations, and then they gradually get worse for us. But nothing that's going to be night and day in terms of like, oh, like the next day or like in a matter of weeks or months, we're all going to be in like concentration camps. These things will happen. If they ever do happen, they'll happen gradually. And we can do things in the meantime to prevent something as bad as that is happening. But if you've watched some of my videos, such as like overthinking, when you're overthinking about things that will happen in the future, you're just making up scenarios in your head. You don't know if those things will actually happen. What you could do is focus on the present moment and what you could do in that present moment. All right, what actions can you take? And we'll talk about some of that later on in this presentation. Why it happens. There's uncertainty. There's intense media coverage, and there's personal stake in outcomes. This adds to stress, right? People don't want certain candidates to win, whether it's like the Republicans or the Democrats. People feel this stress. Or people are just feeling stress in general because they don't like either side, which a lot of people who've been watching this channel for a long time can relate to. So an example of that would be intense news cycles that fearmonger about what could happen if the other side wins. So if you're just like putting on the news right now, that's all they're talking right now. CNN and MSNBC are fearmongering about Trump and the Republicans. And on the other side, Fox News and all these other conservative media outlets are fear-mongering about Kamala Harris and the Democrats. When at the end of the day, what you need to acknowledge is that they're both owned by the same people, and they're using these different fear tactics to put us against each other. So some common symptoms, signs of election-related stress. You could have heightened emotional responses. You could have irritability. You could have sleep issues. You could have other physical symptoms, like you could be experiencing headaches, stomach aches. Mental and physical impact would include things like long-term exposure to stress, which could impact your health. So some examples would be getting annoyed at family members or getting annoyed at friends or others. Difficulty focusing at work. It's during these times when more people are starting to talk about politics. All of a sudden, some people who you usually don't hear talk about politics, all of a sudden they start talking about it more around this time. And it shouldn't be that way. Politics should be something that you're aware of 24/7. Of course, not in a stressful way, but just being aware that these issues are important and you should be informing yourself. And we're going to get into proper ways of how you can inform yourself so that you're not in this fear-mongering state, or you're not in this anxious state, and so that you're also not falling for propaganda or misinformation or these fear-mongering tactics that these media outlets present. And again, this includes both mainstream and independent and alternative outlets. Because at the end of the day, these channels, these media outlets, they benefit off of getting your views. They benefit off of your fear. But during these times, again, some of your family members might be getting frustrated with you. Like if you're telling them, oh, I want to vote this certain way. Like I want to vote, like if you're saying I want to vote third party, or I want to vote for this other candidate, or if you're saying that you don't want to vote, and to them, they might be thinking, oh my goodness, like that's a, like if you say I'm not going to vote, they could be like, oh, that's a vote for Trump. Oh, or they're going to be like, oh, that's a vote for Kamala. So it can get really intense during these times. So not only can you be anxious about like which candidate might win, but you could also be anxious about dealing with certain people in your life who are supporters of Democrats or Republicans. But yeah, this can also affect how you focus on at work. Right? If you're really invested in this stuff, this could affect your performance in work. So what can you do about it? That's what we're about to get into. How can we manage all this stress, all this negative energy that's around us because of the election time? Let's start by how we can stay informed. These are healthy ways that you can stay informed. You can set limits on the news consumption. So avoid excessive checking of updates, especially before bed. Because if the last thing that you see is something that made you upset online, then you're carrying that negative energy with you to bed. Those are probably gonna be the last thoughts that you have before you fall asleep, and that's not good. That's gonna affect how you wake up the next day. And this negative energy that you consume and that stays in your head, it can affect you physically as well. So curate reliable sources. So stick to factual, less sensationalized news outlets, and diversify your sources. This is something we've been saying for a long time on this channel. You don't want to only be watching, like for example, don't only be watching conservative news, don't only be watching liberal news, or don't only be watching like if you are a fan of certain commentators out there, like for example, if you're a fan of Kyle Kalinske, don't only be watching channels that are similar to him and who are just repeating what he says. Or if you're only watching channels that repeat what Jimmy Dorsey says, or if you're only watching channels that repeat what these conservative YouTube channels say, like I don't know if this channel is even still popular anymore, but like Steven Crowder, or I forgot what a lot of these channels names are, but you guys understand what I'm saying. Don't only stick to one perspective. You have to diversify your sources. And the ones that I mentioned just now, these channels tend, and the mainstream news does this as well, they tend to focus more on narratives rather than focusing mainly on the facts, or focusing mainly on what's being reported. Right? These channels add a lot of their biases and their opinions and their analysis. And sometimes your perspective could get clouded because you're only watching that type of news and you're not hearing the other perspective. You're not hearing the other side. You could find out by listening to another perspective that what you heard from another source was wrong, or they failed to provide this other piece of information. So that's why it's so important for you to diversify your sources, and to also be aware of these different channels' biases. You got to be aware of your own biases. You got to question yourself, am I only watching a certain type of news outlet, a certain type of content, with only a certain type of channels where they all are just collaborating with each other and those are the only voices I'm hearing? Or am I listening to like these group of people that do collaborate with each other in addition to another perspective that doesn't really collaborate with those other groups of people? Because those groups of people, if they're only interacting with each other, then it's just an echo chamber. And then you fall into that echo chamber. And then your view of reality gets narrowed. And then you could veer off of what's actually true. All right, so some other examples here. Limit social media checks to twice a day. That's something that you could do to avoid feeling so anxious or just overthinking all this stuff. Because while it is important to be politically aware, it's also important for you to manage your own mental health so that you're not just constantly thinking about negative news. A lot of these news channels, whether mainstream, independent, or alternative, are focused on the negative things that are happening out there in the world. They benefit off of the complaining and negative mentality that a lot of their audience members have. The pessimistic view of the world. And again, a lot of the stuff that is happening out there in the world is sad and would make you angry, right? Like what's happening in Palestine right now, how all those innocent people are dying, all those children are dying, and what's happening in other countries as well. What's happening in the Congo, what's happening in Sudan, what's happening in Haiti. All this stuff naturally would make us angry, as well as when you acknowledge the involvement that the US has or these other countries have on these poorer countries. So naturally this stuff would make us angry, and it is very important to be aware of it. But it's also important for you to not let that consume you. Don't let that negativity consume you. Channel some positive energy so that you can do something effective in your immediate world. Sometimes things that you do in your immediate circle can send a domino effect, and eventually one person, all those people who you affect positively, they're going to affect other people positively. Whether you choose to be like a coach, or whether you choose to be a teacher or a professor where you are informing your peers, or if you're just doing anything positively out there in the world, like if you're a caretaker for somebody, or if you are very involved in your neighborhood or in your community, if you're like a sports coach, these things send positive energy out there into the world. All right, and while you're interacting with these people, you can send some nuggets of truth to them. If you do feel like you are more informed in some aspects, because right now we live in a world where the majority of the population is misinformed. So like if you've come across like channels like the old version of Frank Analysis, where we used to talk more about news and stuff, or other things, that other channels or news outlets similar like that would expose the duopoly or expose all these things that are happening out there in the world that are negative. You can use some of that knowledge that you've gained and inform those around you. All right, but at the end of the day, don't let that be the only thing that you have on your mind, because there's other things that are happening out there, right? The little things, like maybe like someone in your family graduated from school, or they got a really good job, or maybe there's a new family member, someone was born. These are positive things that can happen in your life, and you got to focus on positive things in addition to negative things. All right, the yin and the yang. You can't just be consumed by all this negativity. All right, pick up a hobby, look at other videos that aren't just about the negative news that's happening out there. Maybe you're interested in like comic books, or maybe you're interested in sports. Or maybe you're interested in movies. Like, look at other channels like that to distract your mind from all the negativity that's out there in the world. All right, stress relief techniques. There's some breathing exercises that you can perform to make yourself feel more calm. Like if you are feeling anxious, whether it's about the elections or other things that are happening out there in the world, like I mentioned earlier, what's happening in Palestine or what's happening in the Congo or Sudan or Haiti. Some of this stuff can be really stressful to us, and some of us might feel like might experience panic attacks or other forms of anxiety, but we can perform breathing exercises like the one that's right here, like the 4-7-8 breathing, where you can inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7 seconds, and then you can exhale for 8 seconds. So why don't we practice that right now? All right, all of you guys who are watching right now, let's inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 7. And exhale for 8. And let's do that one more time. Inhale for 4, and then hold for 7, and then exhale for 8. All right. Mindfulness and meditation are also great practices that you can do. So you can use guiding meditations or guided meditations if you've never meditated on your own before, if you feel like you have difficulties doing it. But it also doesn't have to be for that long. Like you could meditate for like a couple seconds, a couple minutes. If you do it for 30 minutes, that would be great. If you could do it for an hour, that would be amazing. I meditate, but I personally have only meditated for an hour like very few times in my life. I mainly do it right before I'm about to go to bed. I meditate. Sometimes if I just find a spare time, I meditate. Sometimes when I'm feeling really stressful, that's when I allow myself to meditate for like 10, 15 minutes, or maybe like 5 minutes. If I'm waiting for my car to heat up, I might close my eyes for a bit, for 5 minutes, and just think about the present moment, focusing on my breath. And even when you're not meditating, something you could practice is mindfulness, like focusing on what's happening in the present moment. So if you're just like out walking, just focus on the things that you see. If you see some nice trees, if you see like some birds out there, if you're hearing some birds singing a nice song, if you're seeing like someone walking their dog, or if you see the neighborhood cat or something, like anything out there, just pay attention to what you're seeing in the present moment. Like right now, I'm live streaming, I'm seeing the live chat. I'm looking at this presentation right now, trying to help you guys out. I'm looking at my laptop right now, looking at some of these election results. I'm embracing the present moment right now. All right, I'm aware of what's happening right now, and that's all that exists right now. The present moment is infinite. But with anything that you're doing, like if you're out there exercising, or if you're playing a sport, you're just embraced in that presence, right? Just focusing on lifting your weights, or focusing on the steps that you're taking as you're running or jogging. These things are going to help you lower your anxiety. Other examples, like what we performed earlier, guided breathing exercises, there's plenty of them on YouTube. There's also other apps out there that you can download and practice some breathing exercises, or practice meditation, or you can also look up techniques on mindfulness. Journaling is another technique that you can do in order to be more mindful, in order to be more aware about your thoughts. That's another thing that you can do while you're mindful or while you're meditating. Observe those thoughts that come up in your head. Like if it's while you're meditating, these thoughts just come up. It could be the thoughts that you're overthinking about, but if you're just observing them as if it were like a scientist that's observing, like studying a patient or something, or studying an animal, and just like make note of that and just think about, look at how interesting it is that these thoughts just come up. Viewing yourself in a third person perspective, that allows you to be in the present moment. And then without you even realizing it, you'll notice that these thoughts all of a sudden will just disappear into presence. All right, maintaining routine and self-care. So the importance of routine. Consistency in daily activities can reduce anxiety. So whether it's like going out there, like I mentioned earlier, like going to the gym and lifting weights, or going out for a jog, or stretching, or doing yoga, having this routine, like after you go to work or before you go to work, you can do these things, and this could help with your anxiety. Or you could have a stretching routine, like right after you wake up, or right before you go to bed, you stretch out your legs. It becomes a routine, just like with brushing your teeth. I would expect you guys are brushing your teeth right before you're going to bed or right after you wake up. And then having some healthy habits in addition to that. Like we've talked on this channel before with some of the recent videos I put out about mindful eating, being aware about what you're consuming, being aware of the ingredients that's in there, because nowadays a lot of the foods have really harmful ingredients in there that are linked to autoimmune conditions and cancers, things that would profit the food industry and the chemical industry and the pharmaceutical industry, because then when you get sick, you're then dependent on the medications and treatments that the pharmaceutical industry distributes. These are the same industries that benefit whether it's a Democrat or a Republican in office. Exercise is really important, as mentioned, and sleep. Sleep is so very important. It's crucial for you to get good sleep. I've had times when I would barely sleep, and then the next day, those are some of the worst times that I felt in my life. My mind is not rested. I'm not thinking clearly. And if you do have like insomnia or other like sleeping issues, what would be good is if you take some magnesium. Right now I take magnesium before I go to bed. Not every day, but like 5 times a week I take magnesium. If it's one of those nights where it's really, really hard for me to go to sleep, I take melatonin. And not getting enough good sleep does affect your gut health as well. Like it increases your stomach acidity. And if you suffer with gastritis, like that's something that would really affect you if you're not getting good enough sleep. So make sure you're doing that. Meditation can help with giving you good sleep. Stretching right before bed can also help you with getting good sleep. But this helps to improve mental resilience, as it's written right there. It can help with anxiety. It can help calm those ruminating thoughts. We have, as it's listed there, examples: having morning routine. Wake up thinking about things you are grateful for. That will help to reduce these negative thoughts. If you're replacing them with positive thoughts, like things that you're grateful for. Don't confuse that with toxic positivity. It's still important to acknowledge the negative things that are happening in your life so that you know what you need to improve on. But you also don't want to be consumed by that. right? That's why you have to be mindful of the things you are grateful for. Are you grateful for your spouse? Are you grateful for your pet? Like, are you grateful for the cat that you have, for the dog that you have who cheer you up? Are you grateful for the memories that you've had? Good times you've had with friends, good times you've had with your pets. Like, I'm grateful that I got to spend time with my dog. I'm grateful that I got time to spend with my dad, my mom, my sisters, my very close friends who I consider my brothers. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for, like, if I see my family or my friends, I'm going to be thinking about how, man, I really appreciate the time I spent with them. And I can journal that. Or some of the people who I've met while I've been doing this show, like some of the panel members who are going to come on. I'm grateful for these people. I'm grateful for meeting a lot of you guys who are in the chat right now. Like Antoine right now in the chat, who's going to be on the live panel in a little bit. I'm grateful to have met him. I'm grateful for Extra Bulla. Shout out to that guy. He's also going to be on the panel in a bit. Grateful for Glory, who's also going to be on the panel. I'm grateful for the knowledge I've gained while I was here. You can think about some things you're grateful for from your life as well. Are you grateful for the education you received? Or things that just happen daily in your life, you know? Are you grateful for the meal you had earlier? Are you grateful for even something little? Like, are you grateful for someone saying thank you to you when you held the door open for them? But yeah. A dream journal. That's something that I added right here. It's really interesting. Being aware of things that happen in your dream can help with understanding certain things that happen in your waking life. And I can do a video on that in the future where I explain having a dream journal. I have that. And I've noticed some really interesting things, like something that I write down from like a month ago. I like something in the dream happens to me, and then a month later I'm in a similar situation and I get deja vu, and I have a record of it in my dream journal, and I'm like, the situation feels really familiar. And then I look at my dream journal and I'm like, wow, that very exact situation happened. I don't know if you guys have ever been in a situation like that where something happens to you in real life and then you like remember that you were in a similar situation like that in a dream. Like, I'll bring up a situation right now. I was in elementary school. Like, this is stuff that happened years ago before I put stuff in my dream journal. But when I was in either in elementary school or middle school, I had a dream that I was in the hospital with my dad. And then several years later, like over 10 years later, I was in the hospital with my dad, but the situation was just the same. Like, us walking down the hallway, him holding an IV, and then me like holding his back. Like, that very specific situation happened in a dream when I was in like elementary school or middle school. The reason why I bring this up is because if you're seeing certain symbols and stuff in your dream, or certain patterns or certain situations, it can help you be more aware in your waking life to avoid certain situations. But also, the more aware you are about yourself, the more that you can reduce rumination or anxious thoughts. Having a better understanding about what's happening in your life helps to reduce anxiety. Next up, we got disconnecting for mental health. set boundaries, like limit social media time or avoid political content. Like again, it's important to be politically informed. It's important to diversify your sources, as mentioned earlier. Go as deep as you can. A good source I would recommend, like examples of news sources that stick mainly to facts, less with biases, is like Whitney Webb from Unlimited Hangout, or other sources like that, right? And even then, they might they're like, everyone has a bias, right? But if you're aware of what their biases are, and if you're mainly sticking to those that are writing mainly about facts and less about narratives, that'll allow you to be more informed and to see things more clearly. The more clearly you view the world, the less anxious you'll be. The more that you will be aware about what the best solutions would be to fix the problems in our world. You can't do that if you're misinformed, or if you have an unclear state of mind, and if you're falling for all the fear mongering that not just the mainstream, but a lot of the independent and alternative news channels are pushing out. Separate yourself from that. Understand that there's also multiple sides to a story. Because even though you're receiving facts about something from one side, you got to look at another side too. And then put all those different pieces together so that you can get the full picture. And even then, you might not get the full picture, but the more perspectives you listen to or read from, the better idea you have about what actually is happening. Mute certain words or people on apps like Twitter. Like if there's certain things that are like very irrelevant or are triggering you, you can mute those words on Twitter or X or whatever. Like I've muted so many words out there, things that like these really divisive things. I can just like run through it, but like celebrities, like what's exemplified right there, like Beyonce, like you can live your life without knowing about what's happening in Beyonce's life, right? I've muted words, I've muted people who I don't want to hear about at all. I want to just focus on other things that are happening in life. I've muted the names of certain commentators I don't care for or want to know anything about, and who I can find information from other sources. There's certain commentators out there who you do not need to listen to. You can listen to them if you want to, but you can live on life and still be informed without listening to some of these commentators or other news outlets out there. Do you need to listen to mainstream news all the time or at all? I personally don't watch mainstream news or spend so much time reading mainstream news sources. So I mean, if you want to mute those, you could, but sometimes they are the first to break certain stories, and then other people start covering it and presenting other perspectives that the mainstream isn't presenting to you initially. So in that sense, I would say maybe you don't have to mute those sources, just so that you can be aware of what's breaking news. But at the end of the day, like a lot of these other sources that stick closer to facts, they'll be presenting the information that was broken anyway by these mainstream news sources. But those people, they're not going to be muting mainstream because they're keeping an eye on what they're saying so that they can then present the other perspective, the other information that they're not covering. And you can let me know in the comment section if you've ever had to mute certain words or phrases or people online, like something I muted. And I hope none of you guys ever go that deep down the rabbit hole if you've never heard of it before. But MAGA communism, I muted that word off of Twitter. I don't want to hear anything about that. And I don't need to hear anything about that. Positive community engagement. So engage productively, volunteer with community organizations to channel energy. So as I was mentioning earlier, like whether you're a mentor to someone, or if you're a teacher or a professor, or if you're a coach for a sports team, for a kids sports team or an adult sports team, or if you're involved with community gardens, or if you're involved with organizing protests, these are ways that you engage productively with your and positively with your community. However, if you do choose to engage in these protests, please be safe, please be mindful, and be aware of infiltrators that could be in your groups. Yeah, I mean, that's the best thing I could say, is just don't be so trusting, because there may be some people that go in there to collect some information. But growing your own food and trading your food, or if you have like a side hustle like painting, who I know some of my audience members like to do things like that, paint for people, or if they want to like fix things for people, like if they have knowledge in like plumbing or have knowledge in car mechanics. These are positive ways in which you engage in your community, and it's like karma. It can be negative or positive. If you're emitting positive energy out there into the world, positive energy is going to come back right back to you, and it can help to reduce anxiety. More negative energy, the negative content that you view out there in the internet, that's going to trigger some negative feelings in you, negative energy. So avoid negativity spirals. So focus on constructive conversations. Don't make it mainly about like complaining and all this other stuff. And yeah, do not be addicted to complaining, because when you vent, be aware of when you should stop, because if you keep going, it becomes an addiction. And I've been I don't want to say victim, but I've been guilty of doing this, where I'm conversing with someone and I'm complaining about some situation or some person, and then I just end up talking about that for a good hour or two, and then after I leave, I'm still thinking about it, and then I'm thinking in my head, I can't wait to see see my friend and just complain again with them. At the end of the day, that's negative energy. It's good to be aware of some people that you should be careful of, or to let somebody know of something that something negative someone did to you, but don't let it get to a point where that's like all you're thinking of, like 24/7. You know, doesn't exist. As if you're positive enough, you can attract Carpenter's polarity attraction is still you could meet, a positive person out there in your community who might be a good carpenter. I don't know. Other examples. So yeah, we have here: join local community groups, learn how to grow your own food, community gardens, having some side hustles. We talked about all this stuff. Open Q&A. So I will leave that open for you guys in the comment section or in the chat, and I can respond to that later. But let's put here, in conclusion, you can avoid election anxiety by being properly informed, practicing mindfulness, meditating, limiting news consumption. All right, that doesn't mean don't be informed at all. That's not what that means. It means like giving yourself a break so that you're not consumed by too much negativity. And local community involvement. Reducing election related stress is achievable and will help all of us create a better world. The less anxious we all are, the more clear our minds will be, and the closer we will get to realizing what the best solutions are to our world's problems. Clear mind leads to clear solutions. Thank you guys for coming to my TED Talk. That's all I got for you. All right, I'm open now to any questions. And in the meantime, I am going to send a link to my guests. And I'm looking at the results right now. It looks like Trump is up right now by 23 points, and Harris is down at just 3 points, but it's still very early. Whole Ya been on edge with the daddy versus mommy selection. I can't wait for January 7th. January 6th part 2, huh? Yeah. I know, man. It's gonna suck. People at work, like I was mentioning earlier, like there's going to be people at work who are going to have difficulties focusing. They're going to be angry about the results that they got. But it really is like daddy versus mommy issues right now. And it sucks to see that there are people who should know better, who are in the independent or alternative news space, that are just grifting off of this election by complaining more about one candidate over the other, as opposed to exposing the powers that control both sides. Neither of these two people are going to save you. Only you can save you. Check out the video I did earlier on the hero archetype. I saw Antoine mentioning it earlier. The hero video was so good too. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Shout out to the editor, man. I have a really good editor. All right, so let's... Oh, my bad. Yeah, 8 p.m. What time zone? 8 p.m. Eastern time. 8 p.m. Eastern time. Tune in at 8 p.m. Eastern time for a panel discussion, which is now going to be in 7 minutes. It's about to be in 7 minutes. Okay, so I'm sharing the link invite right now. Now I'm going to send the link out to my guests. It's about to be fun. So yeah, doesn't exist. I think you might be able to get the link. If you check out the Discord, you can join. But feel free to join if you want. And I'm looking at the results right now, still at 23-3. But how's everybody been? How are you guys feeling about this election? I know a lot of you guys who've been watching this channel for a long time are just like seeing through the duopoly and are just like understand that whether we get one or the other, the lobbyists are going to win at the end of the day. They're the ones that craft the legislation. All right, let's do a test. We got our first guest in here, I believe. What's going on, Warren? Can you do a
What's
test?
up, buddy?
I just want to
Am
make
I
sure
in?
everyone can hear you. Test.
Okay.
Let me know if you guys can hear Warren in the chat.
Hi, everybody. Am I am I on the magic picture box? No, just my voice. Okay.
All right, let's see if anyone said anything. Someone said nothing changes, just staying clean. All right, they're saying they can hear you. All right, now I just gotta add you to the picture. How you been, man?
I'm just busy. I was doing these shows, and then I had to edit some video for this guy, and it's just this guy just cracks the whip all day long. It just never. No, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. But very busy. It's good to keep the mind busy these days, especially with all this shenanigans going on.
Yeah. Yeah, who do you think's gonna win?
Not us.
Yeah,
That's for
not us.
sure.
We're not gonna win.
I guess the who's going to be chosen the winner of the election by whoever does that thing. Uh, I'd probably put money on Trump. I'd probably say Trump. If I was a bet man, I'd bet on Trump. Who you got?
Yeah, I think Trump might win. All right, I'm trying to pull you up into the stream right now, but looks like I'm not selecting the right thing. I will figure it out though. I've done this before.
Zoom's a little bit fun.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
All right, so I got it up. You're in the vertical.
I'm in the vertical.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, V? What's up, my up and down peoples? Whoa, what's up?
All right, we got Glory Jones in here.
I see Glory. I see her little picture nub.
Yeah, hold up. I gotta fix that. Let me make sure it's on. Oh, yeah.
Hello, Miss Glory Jones. It's always nice to see you, honey. She doesn't come around anymore since the papers, the court papers were signed. So, wait, what? Oh, I wasn't supposed to tell. I'm sorry. I don't know what that means. How are you, Glory? I haven't seen you forever.
I know it's been a minute. But shit's happening, isn't it?
It's definitely shit. I don't know if
It
it's
is.
happening or not. I guess it is. I guess it's been happening. It's going to
Oh,
continue to
okay.
happen.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I I'm just really glad that, despite all the shit happening, at least fucking selection season is gonna be over soon enough.
Thank
Yeah, that's what we
God.
should call it, selection season.
It really is selection
That's what
season.
I've been calling it. I don't give a fuck who gets selected. Like the fallout is going to be annoying either fucking way because
Oh
it's like,
yeah.
okay, either Kamala wins and we deal with all the fucking pouty ass Trump supporters and all the
Whoops.
shit lips going, oh yeah, first black woman president, yeah, queen, you made history. Or Trump gets selected. And it's like you have all these fucking shit libs going, oh my God, it's the end of
Yeah.
democracy as we know it. Everything was going so well in America before Donald Trump. And you'll have all the fucking shithead Trump supporters being like, oh yeah. now we're all good. The Republic is saved. We don't have to fight for shit anymore. Let's go hate on some gay people and some immigrants. Yeah.
Gay immigrants, you get a double. So, that way you save some time too. I know, right?
Yes.
It's like, who the fuck? Yeah, it's just a different driver of the same shitty car. That's
Mm-hmm.
all it is. I love how Franco just builds this show while the show is going on. This is just like
Yeah.
out of like science fiction or something.
I know I was about to ask, like, are we live right now? Because I
Yeah,
checked
we are live.
before. Okay, cool. Nah, that's cool though that you're building the stream.
We got
It
time and
is.
all that, you know.
I'm gonna start doing that shit. I mean, like, if I start my show, it's gonna be like a blank wall. You see me there with like some scribbles and stuff, like some color. And wait, where'd we go?
Nah, I'm just impressed that you're using Zoom. Because for a second I saw the Zoom link pop up and I was like, brother, ooh,
Yeah, it's because like I
what's
don't have
that,
StreamYard
brother?
anymore.
I have
Yeah,
to.
no more StreamYard.
Yeah, yeah. I got to teach you the ways of the Video Ninja, Video Ninja, which is basically Zoom, but it's free and it's open source too, I think. So
Ooh,
yeah,
yeah,
but
open
it's a
source.
oh, stop it, you little scandalous kitten! Meow. Lick, 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 clean, clean, clean. Lick, lick, clean, clean. I missed you, Glory Jones. Oh, you flower of Ireland, you. Where's that other guy? Where's that guy? What's his name? Henry? Isn't he supposed to be on there? What's his name?
Kissinger?
No,
Quinn.
not. Ain't no dead people allowed on this show. Or
Come
is
on,
there?
man. It would be great for the views.
Yeah, you go
Yeah,
gravesites
Kim
that might
Lucas
done
thing.
dug the grave up. They stick the
We'll
hand
just
up
leave it
in
like
his skull,
this.
make him talk.
Bro, do you know like how much awesome clips of that we could get? How much sound bites?
Of what? Digging up Kissinger? Well, we have to avoid the law because it's a little bit illegal to dig up somebody else's shit. Just a little bit. I'm no lawyer, but
That is a random question that just popped up into my mind. Has Henry Kissinger's gravesite been vandalized yet?
I don't think they're telling people where it is.
Hmm.
I wouldn't. If I was
Yeah.
that hated, no, hell no. You ain't pissing on my grave. Fuck that. Shitting on it, all that stuff. I know what people do. Toilet paper, rotten eggs.
So game.film, check out your DMs on Twitter.
Oh, is
We
he
can
coming
have
on
some
too?
more. Yeah, we can have some more people on here.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Love some game.film.
Whoa! I just looked at my laptop and I see the results have changed a lot.
What happened?
There's a lot more red. It looks like what we
Oh
think might
yeah, it
happen is gonna
always it
happen.
always starts out that way. All the shit that comes in is red, and then every year we have to remind people that, hey guys, Florida, except for Broward County and Tallahassee, is a red state.
Yeah. Yeah, DC is a bubble. If you were in DC, you would think Kamala was gonna win easily.
Or if you're in California, because I know
Yeah.
people in California right now who are like, it just feels different this time. Like we're on the
Oh
verge of
man, they're
history.
in for a rude
And I'm
awakening.
like, oh, Jesus fuck.
Yeah,
It feels different this time. No, seriously, it feels different. Come on, y'all.
Yeah. I mean,
Right,
I
yeah.
don't give a fuck. Because I mean, like realistically, you think about Florida, like I don't know, like the only people who vote are like the devout shit libs in Broward County and Tallahassee, and then like all the Republicans. Everybody else who votes is a Republican because it's like nobody else in Florida really gives a shit.
Yeah, no, you would think Florida would be a little more Democrats with all the snowbirds that come down from New York, but maybe they're
But
chasing
that's the
out.
point, is they come from New York to fucking soak up the sun for a couple months, and then they go flocking back to the Northeast.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, the ones who just kind of come down temporarily. But yeah, well, yeah, hell yeah, if you go to
But
Florida
the
in the middle of
problem is,
summer,
though, is Florida's also had an influx of a bunch of like, because on top of like, the people from Northeast New York, et cetera, that have recently moved down here to like more permanently, you also have that influx of like, fucking former California shitheads and fucking
yeah,
tech bros who are like, oh yeah, I want to get all up in that Tampa innovation zone. I just escaped from California. I'm ready to become a
California.
shit-faced entrepreneur.
California. That's so funny.
We
I
They're
got
so
know.
they're so far away from
someone
communists.
joining us. Who's this Eddie Felson?
Dun dun dun.
Do you guys know this person?
No.
Who
Unless
is
that's
this? Eddie Felson? They're on mute.
It's Game Dot.
Yo, what's up, Game
oh,
Dot Film?
you just doxed yourself, man. That's not cool.
long time, long time viewer of the show. It's great to have you on.
Gotta fix that photo.
I was about to say, did you regress? Are you a child? Are you a little baby now?
What are your thoughts, Game Dot Film? What do you think about what's going on right now with the election?
I'm not trying to get excited or sad or anything. Just watching, I guess.
Yeah, same. Just the viewing as a third person, in a third person perspective, not attached to either side. But
Yeah,
yeah, go
definitely.
ahead. Yeah, since the topic is on like managing election related anxiety or anxiety related to big events, like whether it's whatever it's going on in the world, like what's happening in Palestine, what's happening in Haiti or the Congo, Sudan. How do you guys deal with that? What do you guys do to not let all that negative energy and all that negative news consume you?
I feel like my answer is a bit terrible because it's like it engages in heavy escapism in the sense that like oftentimes my answer is just to be like to drive far away and to venture on deep into the mangroves and then decide I want to do something productive with my life. And like, whether it's, fucking cleaning up trash, picking up balloons that leach a bunch of toxins into the environments because y'all motherfuckers in Florida don't know how to dispose of your party balloons properly. Let me not get on a tangent there.
Dang.
Um, Oh, I will say, I volunteer in like habitat restorations and barrier islands around Miami, and it's like very satisfying, and cool to see like on one hand, like we're trying to restore the sand dunes, and then on the other end of the island, you got like the mangroves coming in and taking over, so that's really cool. But yeah, that was a pretty bad answer on my end because it's literally just like go out and and help out Mother Nature a bit and escape from society for a while.
That's not a bad
Um,
answer.
Yeah.
No, you're putting
yeah.
positive energy out there and you're grounding yourself by looking at nature and embracing the present moment there.
Hmm.
Yeah, because reality isn't all of just what's we're seeing out there pushed out on social media and everything. Like the world is bigger than that. Like there's animals and plants out there. They're not invested in all this political stuff, even though some of it does affect them. But we have the power to be aware of it and probably do something about it.
They can't vote yet, though, so that's the thing. You get the animals to vote, and that's a whole game changer
Yeah.
right there. If you could figure that shit out.
Can you
So,
imagine
If
if
the
cats and
animals
dogs
could,
voted?
right.
they'd just be like, fuck humans. Y'all genocided a bunch of fucking animals early a couple hundred years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
I imagine there'd be a lot of state ballot initiatives that were written up by these animals too, and all the humans would be like in the little pet reserve somewhere. It'd be just a total reversal of fortune.
With a strong strongly written letter by AOC and the
Oh yeah, those
Progressive
things are
Squad.
powerful. Those strongly worded letters. I tell you, man, I do, because I do the morning show 3 days a week, and it's just nothing but just news of just constant, most of it just bad news, right?
Yeah.
And but I know I'm kind of been I trained my brain for this a long time ago when I did this for news stations back in the day when I was a producer, and now I just get back into that producer brain where it's just like I feel like I'm just a conduit, which I really am. I'm just there's actual reporters that are doing these stories and stuff, and I'm just trying to pipe them into the right directions to people that really need to hear it. There's a lot of preaching to the crowd in this space. So and it's great to remind people of stuff, but we need to reach more people, and we need to reach people outside our comfort zones and stuff too. So I started streaming on Facebook too, which is nothing but old people and memes, but still they're people. And if you could just get one or two of those people to just kind of like, hey, wait a minute, mainstream media has been lying to me. Uh, if you could just get one or two of those people to just at least question that, then you're
Yeah.
doing something good. And that's how I deal with it.
Yeah.
Is the hope that I'm just trying to inform people by getting this information that isn't readily available to everybody.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, for all my qualms with FedBook, you do have a solid point because it's like, I can't speak for everywhere, but here down in South Florida, there's a bunch of, like local advocacy groups where one of their main forms of communication is via the Facebook communities or Facebook groups or whatever you call them.
Hmm.
So it's like there's people who like I legit wouldn't get updates from if it weren't for FedBook. And that's just the way it is. So you kind of just have to have like this very guerrilla mindset about what you're doing in the sense that like, hey, you know what I gotta do to get my information out there, I'm gonna do it. And it extends beyond, streaming to YouTube and maybe, Rumble and Rockfin and whatever, where you already kind of have a set echo chamber and, branching out into those sites like Facebook or,
Hmm.
even better, putting up, like, if, say, you're reporting on an article, fucking, print that shit out or like make a little Cliff Notes version of it, print it out into like, a basic flyer format and paste that shit around town. That way you're getting eyes on it and being able to like have, take what online into a physical space. So for a fact, even if it's not sticking with people, it's reaching with people. And it's just, reaching random people within your community. So it's not some, entirely siloed echo chamber where you are, like Warren said, kind of preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is in the smaller towns these days now, but uh, that's true that it's almost like a word of mouth thing. Like if you put up these just like these little flyers and stuff like that, you would be surprised how many people stop and actually read that stuff these days, right? Like I do a lot of walking and stuff to help relieve the physical and mental stress. And in my travels, I often see like something. Every once in a while, I'll see like a little sticker that'll be up on a do not enter sign that'll say "fuck Israel" or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like that's nice, especially like here in Chicago, it's a very liberal town. So to see those little pockets of resistance like that is pretty nice.
Yeah. Game dot film. What are some things that you do to try to reduce yourself from having so much anxiety when you're consuming a lot of negative news, whether it be like from like social media or what the channels put out? What do you do?
I try and focus on friends and family because they're really absorbed in the duopoly, you know. I'm really trying to talk to them, just saying like Obama's a failure the past 8 years, and before that Bush was. and then like Trump got elected, and it's like, don't y'all see what's happening?
Yeah.
Like they're both so
They
terrible. Like what
they
is
all
wrong with
blame the other
y'all?
side. Yeah, I think a lot of people do see what's happening, but then they're just like, oh, it's it's because of the Republicans in Congress. If there's a Democrat who's the president, and if it same thing vice versa, like a Republicans in office, and they're like, oh, it's those Democrats in Congress trying to install communism in the U.S.
Well, or it's even worse than that because it'll be like you'll have people that recognize like the shit positions of their preferred party, but then the moment that it gets to like July and then August and then September and then October and then beginning of November, it's like now all of a sudden all the criticisms are gone and it's like you have to support them no matter what. And it's like, that's kind of
Yeah.
how it was with my family where like, I would have like these in 2023, I would have these substantive discussions with them about like, the history Palestine and its fight against the genocidal Zionist occupation and like how everybody from, like media to politicians to corporations support that genocide. And then like the moment that it got to like this summer, it was just like, yeah, Kamala, yeah, Kamala.
They forgot everything. What
It
have I
feels
been
like they
telling
forgot
you?
everything, and I'm just like,
Uh,
okay, you know what? I'm gonna go back to watching my One Piece now. Thank you very much.
hey, did you check out the most recent video I put out? I talk about One Piece, talk about Attack on Titan. You got to
I
check it
haven't been
out.
able to watch it yet, but I saw my guy Monkey D. Luffy on the thumbnail, and I was like, "Hey yo,
Yeah.
the Will of D, okay." And then I think I saw Legend of Korra on there, and I was like, "Ooh, okay, little Avatar: The Last Airbender universe,
Yep,
okay."
they're all in there. I think Warren just found out about them.
I did. I
Uh,
find something new every time. So Franco is a wealth of information, whether he knows it or not.
what did you think of that? Like those characters I talked about, like One Piece, Naruto, all those little characters.
But
Well,
Franco, Luffy doesn't like being called a hero, remember?
Yeah, he doesn't. He doesn't. It's because he doesn't want to be worshipped. He doesn't want to be idolized, and he's
Like
right about that.
goat, my goat. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say the only thing I could really relate to was the Attack on Titan one because I'm kind of a fan, although I haven't finished the whole thing. There's like 90 episodes in a season. Come on, there's like
Mm.
so many, but it's good. It's really good.
Bro, you
Uh,
can't complain about episode length when me and Franco were just talking about One Piece.
Yeah, One Piece is over 1,000 eps.
yeah, but isn't it like a minute long or something like that? It's
No,
just it's like,
No,
oh no,
no, no,
they're
or is
30
it like an hour?
minutes.
no.
Are you talking
It's a
about?
lot.
It's a lot, man. Make The Simpsons look like a limited run series.
Yeah, pretty much. But they add a lot of like, it's not like unnecessary stories like with filler, but they add a lot of unnecessary scenes to drag it out so that they don't go ahead of the source material, which is the manga, which is a Japanese comic.
Yeah, which by itself is already long as fuck.
Yeah.
You know, I am familiar with mangas because I used to work at Borders Books
Oh.
in yeah, no name dropping. And so we have to deal with those a lot. And yeah, you read them like right to left or something, some of them. Isn't that right? You don't you go right? It's almost like
Yeah.
a
Yeah, you go the other way as
yeah,
opposed to
you go the other way. Yeah. It's kind of cool. The artwork in it is very fascinating too. But you know, I'm also one of these cats that grew up. I was a very young adult during the early days of Adult Swim, right? Uh, so you got all the kind of the weird animation and stuff on there, and then you'd have like your what we called the Japanime at midnight. What was it? One Piece was like one of those, and Cowboy Bebop, uh,
Dragon
Ghost
Ball
in the
Z,
Shell.
definitely, I bet.
Yeah, way back. Uh, so I get it. I mean, I'm not steeped in that world, but I've dipped my toe in a couple of times, so I got a little taste. So I
Where
know,
where
I
did
know.
you leave off on Attack on Titan?
Oh God, it's been so long. It was probably like mid-season. I just got to finish the second half of the
But like,
season.
what was the last thing that you saw?
Oh Jesus, I can't even remember. That's the thing. I was watching it on Crunch too. Yeah, or what is that? Crunch?
That
Is
orange
that
thing, that
Crunchyroll?
orange channel.
Crunchyroll? Yeah, it was Crunch or Crunchyroll, one of those that does it. And because I know Crunchyroll from Comic Con too. So yeah, so I got a little street cred with the anime peeps with the Comic Con stuff. So step off, lady. All right, back the fuck. All right. So, but yeah, and they would have Artist Alley there, and they'd have like all the animators and stuff too for a lot of these mangas there too. So it was pretty cool. Um, it's just a lot of stuff. I'm one of these people. I'm scared to start something because I'm afraid it'll be taken away from me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm really invested in this, and all of a sudden, gone.
Like you're talking about the quality. I thought you were talking about the story, and then you're
Well,
like,
well, everything. Just like if you find something that's like a book or a TV show or something like that, and you really like it and you enjoy it, and a lot of times they say, "Oh, you enjoy it? Well, let me just take that away from you and give you something you don't like. Here, let me mess up the Marvel universe for you. You want that? No.
man,
Why did you do
Well, unlike the
that?
Marvel universe, Warren, Attack on Titan will not disappoint you.
No, I love Attack on Titan. It's just I don't know, for some reason I didn't get a chance to finish the season, and it was like a few years ago. So, and I was only watching it on that Crunchyroll thing, so I couldn't find it anywhere else. Even my nefarious sources, you know what I'm talking
I
about.
mean, listen, I'm not saying like I've never watched anime shows using, Zoro TV or Nine Anime or Go Anime or Kiss Anime. I've
Scribble,
heard of those
scribble,
sites, but I've
scribble.
never used them. Trust me.
I watch
Not
anime.
recording any of these.
I watch
Scribble.
anime movies, but I don't watch series. Series just there's too many hours you have to put in, man. Just show me one movie in 90
there's a
minutes,
lot
two
of great
hours.
ones out
I'm
there. Like,
done.
have you seen the Hayao Miyazaki ones? Like Spirited
Uh,
Away and Howl's Moving Castle, Princess
Mononoke.
Oh yeah, I've
Mononoke.
seen Spirited Away. That's a
Yeah.
really
oh
good one.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
man, those are
very
so
beautiful.
good.
I like him for the. I mean, I don't. If I don't get into the story or whatever, I can always just get lost in the artwork of it because it's just so nice and it just captures you.
Yeah. Princess Mononoke is like a political one. Like, there's like elements there of like what you see in like Pocahontas and Avatar, of like fighting for the environment. You guys see it, right? Those
Yeah.
similarities.
And I will say too, Eddie, I'm in the same boat as you, where like I don't have time to watch as much anime series as I did in like my prime weeb days. So nowadays, like almost everything for me is just reading the manga. So
hmm
Right on, right on.
That was the thing too. Back in the day, before like the internet and everything like that, you kind of got little leaks of what was coming out of Japan like that. Like movies and stuff like that. Maybe you had a movie guy or something that you knew who said, "Yeah, I got this bootleg of whatever it is that you've been looking for." And now you can just like, boop, you can just stream it and yar matey. You know what I'm talking
yeah.
about. But
Godzilla movie piracy has come in very clutch for my youth development, though, I will say. If we're talking about piracy of Japanese entertainment, those Japanese Godzilla movies that I may or may not have achieved through unconventional means, very solid, very solid.
I don't even want to go into the ones with the tentacles. All right, I've done those, and they look scary. Those are the worst looking octopuses I've ever seen in my life. All right,
Japanese really like that octopus, the tentacle stuff. That's not my game.
I
the
feel like it's just an
tentacles.
island thing because it's like, I don't know.
It's just natural to them. I don't get it.
I just like the fact that some people who don't even know that exists, and you say, "What is it?" It's like, well, it's anime, but they have sex, and then there's tentacles. They go, "Wait, what?"
Mm.
You go like, "Would they have sex with the squids?" And you're like, "No, there's just regular ass people." Then all of a sudden, the tentacles come out, and they're like, "Wait,
You
what?"
you
That's
So
better
always
weird,
my
you
man.
fear
better
when
you
recommending anime is like wondering, okay, like, should I warn them about the degeneracy that they might encounter?
it's like voting third party or something.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like a third party.
What?
It is. You're like, well, maybe they need to find out for themselves in real time and let the chips fall where they may.
So
You
I've
know?
shared my thoughts about third parties on this channel plenty of times, and I've talked about the corruption in the Green Party and MPP, if people even remember what that is. um, I didn't really dive that deep into the Libertarian Party, but it seems like a mess. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts about third parties and why you guys don't see it as a viable solution. Because I don't either, but I want to hear from you guys and have the audience listen.
It's not a solution, but it's a middle finger to the duopoly.
Mm.
That's what I did. I voted Karina and Claudia, the Socialist Party. But I mean, none of those policies are going to get enacted, and they'll probably get killed if they're a real serious candidate. But it was like a spite vote, I guess. Jill Stein looks pretty good, but yeah,
I
I like
get it.
Claudia.
I did the spite vote in 2020. I voted for it wasn't Claudia, but it was the 2020 PSL ticket with Gloria LaRiva and Leonard Peltier. So that was like the big thing for me was like, okay, a political prisoner on the ballot, like, you know what? Not only is it a spite vote, but like it's a vote that I can kind of stand behind. But this year not. I just didn't vote at all because it's like I wanted to have that fuck you to the duopoly, like you said, Eddie. Also, elections are one massive fucking theater, and I don't want to participate in it. And like these third parties, even though they can seem like viable alternatives to the duopoly, they come with like a whole host of problems where it's just like, why not just like divest from the whole shit show completely? And then lastly, the I have received just like an onslaught of fucking ads and messages. Like I got, hold up, let me pull up some of the fucking I'm not gonna show them, but I'm gonna read them. Like some of these texts that I've been getting, it said a voter at my home address may not have voted yet. This data could be out of date. Early voting info at this link. Hi, Glory. Someone in your household already voted, but our records show you have not voted yet.
What?
Glory, records show you did not vote in 2022. Today is your last chance to vote. Find where at Max Vote. And like just so many questions worded exactly like that. I got a SoundCloud ad the other day that was like, there are devices that track everything we do, and they can even track your vote. Remember, who you vote for is private, but whether or not you do vote is public information. Make sure you vote this election, or else you're gonna lower your voter score. Like, and I'm like, you know what? No, no, fuck
Voter
you.
Voter
score.
score.
Like,
Well, you're trying to
like, like
make it
just
like your
the
credit
odds.
score.
Yeah. Well, like a literal social credit score connected to the ballot. When I started getting ads like that were just trying to like peer pressure the shit out of me and like social credit score pressure me into voting, I was just like, no, you know what? Fuck you. Like this is like Eddie said, it's not only like a fuck you to the duopoly. Like I'm giving a big fuck you to all these fucking election shit shows and the get out the vote agendas that are coming from like everyone. Like I'm so ugh, yeah.
I tell you, I've been preaching this for a few years now. Because, like I said, I used to be back in the day. I was a diehard Democrat. I didn't know what was going on. I was just going along to get along. And then when I started realizing shit, uh, it wasn't until recently, probably within the last 5 or 10 years, that I found out how really corrupt things were at least on the national level. And it's starting to get that way on the state level in some places. But I often use the analogy, it's like people want to have these elections on a system that is so broken and corrupt that it's just not going to do any good. You're just changing out the the pieces, but it's still the same board. It's still the same, person controlling it. You have to shut down the system and rebuild it to one that's fair for everyone, or at least fair as it can be, and rebuild that's where it's not all capitalism. It's not all one thing, because the thing I always say is it's like putting icing. You could have the best delicious icing. You're still putting it on a cake made out of shit, right? If this, so it really doesn't matter what the frosting's like. And that's what elections are right now. It doesn't really matter with these elections as long as the whole system is rotten and corrupt. And I think instead of putting our energies into third parties right now, I'm all for like as many parties as you want. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I think the time now is we need to focus on direct actions and mutual aid, so we could get people out in the streets and striking and shutting this shit down. That's the only way we're going to make any change, is if we shut it down ourselves. And if we go the way, I mean, we could go to the voting booth. That's fine too. You want to vote for your little happies or whatever, that's great, but don't take your eye off the real ball, which is shutting down the system. So just my 2 cents.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that was
Shut her
well said,
down.
man. You've been pushing out a lot of news content recently, more than the rest of us, I think. You've been
Well, it's
covering
all
it
just
daily.
it's all just this quick stuff. I try to keep the opinions out of it. Some of it you can't help it though. It's just so heart wrenching and stuff. But that's the only way you're going to get people to change outside of our little spaces here. Who summoned the Antichrist
I
is
was
one I
about
want to
to
know.
say,
What the
Long
hell?
time
who
Fucking
is
no
this
Dollar
see.
Tree Gandalf
motherfucker
in the
in
house.
all
What's
black
up,
and
buddy?
and flannel coming in smoking on his fucking pipe?
Are you Jesus? Where the fuck have you been?
Why, thank you, my son. What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Hey, good, man. It's been a
What's up? What's
while.
up?
It's good to see you again.
It is good to see you, man. What's up?
Fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
I've just been working a lot. Wrapped
Yeah.
up a big project.
This feels
Learned a whole bunch of
nostalgic.
stuff. Yeah, man. Like, fuck Lori, fucking Franco, Wardeer. I haven't seen you guys for like, shit, a year and a half.
If you
Yeah.
see on like the old stuff that I kept on this channel, old streams, old videos, a lot of
Yeah.
them are still with you in it.
Yeah, those were some wild times, man.
Yeah,
Those
where
were
we
some
talked
wild
about
times.
natural law, talking
Yeah.
about the downsides to a general strike, like if it's like badly organized and all that.
Yeah.
Those are all great, man. Appreciate you being on there.
Yeah,
You opened
man.
my eyes
Thanks
to a
for
lot of
having me.
stuff, man.
I don't know, man. Like, I just read a lot. I'm a fucking nerd, Like, and whatever jives
Yeah.
with me, whatever jives with me is kind of where my conviction lies, Like, I guess manufacturing conviction upon like education and fucking growth is probably pretty important. So that's how I try to do that.
Manufacturing conviction. I like that.
Yeah.
Not
Well, I
consent,
mean,
but a conviction. Yeah.
I think most action lacks conviction. Most, I don't know, opinion lacks conviction. And so, yeah, man. What you guys been up to?
Nothing much. Just trying to take this channel on a different direction that I think would be more productive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that it can help people.
Yeah, man. Current events is kind of a mess, right? So it's probably a pretty cool. It's a good idea to like provide some people like an escape from all that, right? Like maybe graduate from politics a little bit,
Yeah.
Because like I don't know, the political sphere is so fucked up, man. Like
It's
to
really
like
bad
obsess
right
over
now.
that shit is rough, man. Like,
Yeah, I was like 24/7 just like invested in
yeah,
it and all that. But I mean, it's still important to have some people push out the news like what Warren does. The
yeah,
problem is when it becomes a culture war, like what we
yeah,
witnessed with a lot of, our former colleagues or
yeah,
former channels we used to watch.
yeah. It was a different time, man. Like,
Yeah.
it was different time, different fucking circumstances. I don't know. I hope everyone grows. Like,
Yeah, that's my hope
Mhm.
also.
yeah,
Um,
Warren's growing. His channel's doing really good. So is Franco's.
Thank
Just
you.
like,
My belly's growing, but because I like food. Uh, well, yeah, I mean, you talk about doing stuff different than other people. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. How it's just basically tonight. I know there's probably just like a fuck ton of people just doing streams tonight, and they're all giving their takes on each of these
Fear mongering.
candidates, and yeah, and feeding off and making sure that their audiences feed off that fear too, so they keep
Yeah.
coming back for more.
yeah,
Mhm.
And that's that. I mean, I want people to come back for more information. I don't want people to come back because they're scared and they have to come back. It's like I want you to come back and get your information. Now I want you to go. You got your information. Go lead your life. Go do
yeah,
stuff. Go out and what is it? Touch grass. Is that what the kids say? Go touch some grass. Go smoke some grass if
I'm
you got some.
definitely,
You could
yeah.
smoke
you got
some.
it.
Smoke it, touch it, paint it or whatever. Just get your mind off the shit for a while. Like you said, you got to have something that decompresses you, but it's also at the same time you got to keep your eye on some of this stuff too, because fuckery is afoot 24/7, and
Yeah,
you got to keep your eye on the players that's creating the fuckery too.
yeah.
Mhm.
Humankind is pretty fucking wretched, man.
It
Like,
is. It
I
really
mean,
is. What
dude,
happened?
these YouTube channels I used to watch 10, 15 years ago are just, oh yeah. It's not even disappointing. It's like, okay, I see you.
yeah,
Like,
I don't know. Like, people be following shit out to logical conclusions, man. Right? Like, any different scenario that can play out with any different set of inputs can have a very different output. uh, I don't know. Like, they're like, speaking from someone that's been like, I've been doing a particular like trade, and I've been doing a particular thing for like 13, 14 years now. Like, I have like a need to survive in that career, right? And so when people like they spend a lot of time in front of a camera, I think they end up like needing that to be like their career, right? Like, because that's what they dedicate so much energy to. Like, I've spent enough time on fucking cameras, like doing my career, right? Like, when I go home now, it's like I'll watch somebody on a camera for a little bit, but like it's crazy how like the daily shows, especially, like how like wrapped up you can be in like if you're doing a daily show, but it's like has some balance to it. Like, that's kind of a different story, right? But like constantly covering the shit, it's got to be like it's got to end up fucking with you, right? Like,
absolutely.
yeah,
Hell, only 3 days a week it'll fuck with you. Especially the concentration of the news, that as the potency of each of these stories. You hear about kids getting just burned alive. Schools and
yeah,
hospitals just getting blown up because it must have been Hamas. And that
yeah,
sort of shit, and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And we get to see it every day with TikTok and all the people with the phones and stuff over there you
yeah,
know so it's not like we can hide from it anymore. You can't hide from it. You have to actually now get out into the light and deal with the shit. And
My
some of
friends and
us are and
family
some of us
are
aren't.
buying that shit. God damn it.
yeah,
Why are they doing this?
I'd rather show anime with tentacles, to be honest with you. I think I'd find more pleasure in that. I think the people would find more pleasure in it because, hey, who doesn't like a good tentacle, right? But that ain't where we're living. We got to give them the hard shit. Unfortunately, most of it is hard.
Yeah,
But
well, I mean, like,
Yeah.
regardless of how you try and, escape things or, I hear all kinds of talks about like parallel societies, exit and build, all of that. And it's like, at the end of the day, you can do all of that, but like this shit's gonna catch up with all of us. So like we have to be aware. We have to be ready, willing, and currently, in a struggle against it because it's just like, you know, it's like I already said, it's gonna catch up to all of us at the end of the day, like the shit isn't gonna stop with Palestinians or Yemenis or Congolese or Haitians or fucking
Cop City.
yeah, Cop City, like people in urban areas, im immigrants who are arbitrarily deemed illegal because they were born on the other side of a line drawn by fucking genocidal pedophiles hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
It's not gonna stop at all the people who, and like indigenous Americans and indigenous peoples around the world, like it's not gonna stop with them. It's gonna come back to us eventually, no matter how much we try to escape it. And like, I know I brought up escapism as, like a means to help, protect my sanity in a sense, but like that, that is something that, I and we should try to balance with, a general awareness of what's going on because it's like unfortunately we can't escape it and we shouldn't try to, we should have to face it because not only will, the people it's currently affecting, the system is currently affecting, be not alone in their fight, but also will be less alone in that fight once it comes to us by virtue of the fact that less people will be fucking dead by the time that the system comes rolling around and is like, hey guys, you thought that smart border was gonna stop at illegal immigrants? Nah, bitch, you're next. And it's like, okay, stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready.
mhm.
Yeah, man. Ideologues are a bad thing, man.
Hmm.
Ideology is like, it's crazy, man. Like how much it can poison some people. Cause like,
Yeah.
I know some like genuinely good people with some genuinely shitty fucking political views, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A
Right,
lot
like-
of those.
Like, but it's not that they're bad people. They just got some shitty political views, right?
Yeah.
And like, and it's not because they're like, yeah, fucking kill every fucking thing, right? Like, they're just so badly misinformed, you know?
The working
Like,
class
yeah.
people, man.
Yeah. Like, how do you help those people? Like, they're so in a bubble, right? It's tough to fucking like deal in such a large world, man. Like, it's pretty rough. So like ingesting the crazy ass things that are happening overseas, especially.
You got,
Like-
you got to remember too, like the propaganda has been soaked in for like decades and decades, right? So that's another war right there in itself, is just battling the established propaganda as well as the nouveau propaganda that's being stacked on top of that too. That's why a lot of these people that you're talking about, mostly like rural people who don't have that kind of interest in history, right? They learn just enough history to get by so they could do their real job that they want to do. They don't want to deal with history and stuff like that. So when you don't learn from history, obviously you're just going to end up repeating the shit because you're not learning any lessons from it. So now you're fighting this, pull yourself up by the what is it, the bootstrap thing?
Bootstraps, yeah.
And it's like, dude, you've heard that your whole life. You can't fight City Hall, right? A lot of people in the South, that when I grew up, it was one of these things that's just like they believed some people believed some radical things, but they kept it to themselves because they didn't dare want to get themselves ostracized from their community or their church or their work or whatever it was where they were close knit with a lot of people. But those ideas are there. You just have to find the right people and the right situation to coax it out of them, you know?
Yeah.
Free
Yeah.
healthcare,
Yeah.
equal rights for everyone.
You would think free healthcare would like sure as hell perk up some ears, but everybody's just like, wow, where's it ain't free? It ain't free. Where's it coming from?
Yeah.
Or who's paying for it? I'm gonna pay for it, ain't I? So that some bitch that's over there getting the color TV up there in public housing. Yeah, right. Fuck that. You know, you get all this misinformation and stuff, and it's like, no, that's and that's how they twist it to where you can't have nice things like that. Not even nice things, just basic things to help a society be productive.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want to do it.
These ideologues end up falling victim to cults. What are some things that have helped you guys not be consumed by cult mentality or being part of cults?
Spreading out obsession, right?
Yeah.
Because like cults are built upon obsession.
Yeah.
And if like especially there's like an ideology behind something, like behind that cult, it's very easy to get wrapped up into something, especially when you fucking are smart enough to tell yourself the lie that you're just educating yourself on shit. So like that whole thing like became like, for me at least, like spreading out the things I'm interested in, right? Like I'm very much into learning about ancient histories and medieval histories and playing fucking music, and then I work a lot too as well, but like I also am raising a child, and so like it's balance, right?
Yeah.
Like you can know about how fucked up everything is in the world and have an idea of how to fix it, but like what are you putting into action and like trying to be part of that, right? Other than just like speaking, right? Like what are you doing?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
It helps to
like-
broaden your view of the world, because when you have that one obsession and you're surrounded by people who have the same obsession, your view of reality just gets narrowed.
Yeah. Like your entire, like when you work around a bunch of different types of people from all walks of life, right? Like you and you you try to get deep into the details of what's actually happening in the fucking Jabalia refugee camp, and they're like their eyes glaze over and they're just like, Hamas bad, Israel good, right? Like you can't have like a super fucking hardcore in-depth conversation about facts with those kind of people, right? Like, and they could be good people, they just could be misled, right? Because they're propagandized. So like find a way to connect on shit with people. Like I've been talking to a fucking like hardcore Trump-looking dude that I work with, and he's been like talking to me about like how it makes sense when I'm like, if you have cops and all these crazy ass institutions that are just like arbitrarily put there, like of course people become more like animals and start fucking fighting each other. And he's like, yeah, like where I'm from in Palau, like the elders are the elders because of what they do, and that's what they teach the people around them. And so like I don't know, like you got to spread out your horizons. If you always focus on that shit, on the shit, like you kind of lose the ability to imagine and feel, I think. What do you guys
Well,
think?
not to mention, there's a lot of shit too that's like, that, that's also, how do I word this correctly? Because it's like, yeah, like Polly said, you're gonna have those people where it's just like the moment you mention, anything to do with the Middle East whatsoever, it's like their eyes are gonna glaze over and be like, you're not saying anything anti-Semitic, are you? But like, for example, if, like if I go up to, people at work, and I work in Miramar and I start talking about AO, isn't it kind of fucked up that the city of Miami-Dade is trying to build one of the nation's largest trash incinerators right on the border between Miami-Dade and Broward County, right outside Miramar, which just so happens to be, a convenient location where a lot of, Black people live? That's pretty fucked up. And it's like, it's not necessarily an issue like, an issue as grand per se as, Gaza's fight against the genocidal Zionist occupation, as well as, and occupied Palestine as a whole. But, it is something that's important, and it's important to the community and the locality. And it's like through there, you can kind of connect with people on a more localized level. And once you kind of have them snatched on that localized level, then you can start building up and being like, hey, isn't it kind of fucked up, that South Florida invested all this money in this bullshit called Israel bonds when I'm driving over 5 potholes to get to work? Like, ayo, like I swear we got more lead in our pipes than fucking Michigan. And we're out here sending money to the Zionist occupation. Hey, why do we have Twin Cities programs with Shitsrael when, like, we're trying to fight off this water privatization scheme? And, it like little things there. You just have to try and like localize the issues as best as you can, because I find that that's where you can connect with people more. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, when being down, you was talking about like what's going on in in Israel, like the people, going back to the people I know down south, a lot of them are evangelicals, right? So when
Yes.
you tell them that you don't like children being murdered, I don't really give a fuck what your holy book says. Yeah, and they would, and a lot of times they'll be like, you mean you're with the terrorists? You're with the Palestinians? And I look at them like, yeah, I am. Because they ain't roasting babies. Them people in the Bible that you think is in the Bible, them's the ones that's doing that. But they're so, that's another thing, I mean, I don't care about people's religions. That's a personal thing, right? But when it starts getting out into the ether, when it starts affecting society as a whole, and you're starting to condone baby killing just because some magic picture book told you so, that doesn't bode well for society as a whole. So we have to constantly educate people, and hone our communication skills too. Like a lot
There,
of us old people trying to talk to young people, and we're like, "Hey, what do you say, Sonny?" But when you get down on their level, you don't have to be. There was Steve Buscemi with the skateboard saying, "Hello, fellow kids." You ain't got to be that guy. You just got to
Don't
have.
try
You
to
got
be that
to.
guy, please.
Yeah,
their
nobody.
minds can be changed too.
Well, you got to fix your listening skills too, and you got to fix your communication skills so that you can give this information to people. Otherwise, they're not going to listen to you. And like you say, it's when you break it down on local things, like Lori said, when you make it more personable, people tend to listen to that shit more. Like when you're talking about the environment, how people shouldn't, you know, we shouldn't be polluting the environment. I would talk to hunters, and I would talk to farmers in the South and say, that water that you use to irrigate your farms, or that water that the deer that you hunt are drinking is poison. And then when you kind of put it on their level, they kind of think about like, well, you know what, you're right, but what are we going to do about it? But at least you have a stepping stone from there to communicate more, where you can talk about the situation, maybe come up with some ideas, and the next thing you know, you got somebody outside the bubble. You got them out. It's nice. That's a good feeling.
Yeah. Comfort zones. Upset all your comfort zones.
Yeah,
Yep.
you get him out. It's like what's his name, Neo, when he busts out of the thing and he's all naked. He's got the tubes and shit on him. You gotta get all that shit off him. Gotta get all that gooey stuff. Clean him up. Let's get him in the chair. Let's go. We got shit to do.
I can't wait till Thanksgiving, guys.
Oh God. No, bro, I'm trying to ride the high from Halloween, okay? It's like objectively the
Ah.
best mainstream holiday. It's fun,
It's one of those you can do the whole month too, and nobody gives you any shit about it because it's just like and it's so fleeting. it's just it's gone
Well,
before you
it's
know it.
just so good too because it's like you think of, you know, in today's day and age, like everybody is, you know, like very closed off, very much like in their own little bubbles. But like the moment that that evening of October 31st hits, like everybody's going out. You have like people you've never met before, like putting on, you know, all kinds of shows just to make like random people's kids smile. And it's like, yeah, like I fucks with that spirit, you know?
It's something that everybody can get in on. It's not like some sort of like cultural thing. It's like you could be from any culture, and you
Well,
could do it.
actually, Warren, I'm a Christian that believes in God, so I don't celebrate Halloween.
Yeah, but you'll have those holiday festivals, won't you? Your fucking harvest festivals, you son of a bitch.
Yeah,
It's the same shit. You just ain't calling it Halloween.
Bro, Christians love to act like they didn't see the Celtic people celebrating fucking Samhain and thought it was so lit that they were like, "Ayo, let's pull out fucking All Hallows' Eve. Why not that?"
And Jesus was not born on December 25th. Just a little food for thought there. Thank you. This is my friend. Yeah, he wasn't. It was the summer baby. He's the summer baby. Okay. Just saying.
He was a Leo.
Listen, just admit you thought the pagan holidays were lit, okay?
Fuck yeah, dude. It's a party. It's a good old time. Like, how else are you going to take over the fucking world if you're just like, no, you can't fucking party anymore? Right? Like, they're just like, no, you're just going to call it this now. You're still going to fucking party, man. Like,
Yeah, it's like you don't want to party in a dirty house. Clean up your house first, then wreck the shit. You know, don't just you want to wreck it while it's clean. I don't know if that's a good analogy or not, but I usually parties I go to, the shit gets wrecked.
just
So
party for Jesus, man. Party for Jesus.
party for Jesus. Wait, this was water a few minutes ago. Now it's wine. Thanks, Jesus. Ding. I got shit faced on the Lord.
Have I told you about the story where Jesus turns water into this mojito?
Mojito, oh shit.
And here I thought it was mimosas, but whatever.
Mimosas. Wow.
Hmm.
Turned it into malt liquor. You got drunk, got on the wrong bus to go home. That's what happened. Thanks, Jesus. Could make it at least like a shitty Miller Lite. No, you had to put in some shit that has like half paint thinner, half drinkable alcohol.
How do you
That's how
guys
you
interact
roll with
with
that.
people who are like really like invested in like one candidate or another? Like you're just forced to interact with them because of work or whatever. Like, how do you guys deal with that?
Oh boy.
You got to read the room.
Oh,
I explain it to most of the people I work with as such. You're voting for a child raping murderer that wants to steal your money, or you're voting for a child raping murderer that wants to steal your money. It's your choice. Yeah. Or you can just not consent.
Yeah.
That sums it up pretty good.
what do they say when you say that?
Some of them have tried to bring up their facts, and I can knowledge dump at
Yeah.
that point.
That's exactly how it's gone with me.
Yeah.
I'll be like, okay, so listen, as long as you vote
This is a
for
fact.
either one
Yeah.
of these candidates, then yeah, just be open about the fact that you're okay with genocide. But like we'll get these changes, and it's like, really? Like
These changes.
like, can you articulate some of the substantive changes that are going to happen? Oh, well, Kamala or Trump is going to be better for black people. Okay, let me take out my receipts then, and let's talk about it. And then
Yeah.
usually at some point they concede, and the topic doesn't get brought up for at least another couple weeks.
Kamala Harris supports cops.
Yeah.
Where are the Nazis and the police force? How she wants to fund the police.
Yeah.
Do you support like police brutality or what's your problem? What?
Yeah, they
It's
bring
like,
up the lesser two evils argument from what
Yeah,
I
come on, guys.
encountered.
Less genocide. It's like genocide light. Half the calories. Come on, don't be like that. You think you're gonna get no genocide? What you were pie in the sky, mister.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
and then what I usually try to do is I try to invite them out to something because then I'll be like, listen, bro, I'm not about, selection shows, but like, if you wanna help, enact some change outside of a massive fucking theater for warmongering pedophiles, then like, you're more than welcome to come to this fucking habitat restoration with me on Saturday. You're more than welcome to join in on on my next fucking meeting to talk about how you can get, the city of Miami and Broward County to divest from their shits rail bonds. You're more than welcome to come with me to the next fucking protest or the next, like canvas or flyering or whatever.
But you
Yeah.
disagree on them on one thing, so it's like,
Yeah.
rah, rah.
Especially because it's like, especially because like saying this as, as someone who's in Gen Z, who's a Zoomer, it's like the amount of fucking boomers and Gen Xers that have come in being like, oh, yeah, these young people never fought for anything in their lives, so they won't know about it, and so they won't know about their rights until it's gone. Da, da, da. And it's like, did y'all watch the student encampments? Did y'all did
I work
y'all
for the
watch us
cops.
taking fucking eating fucking tear gas, bro?
I work I work with the cops. I literally am employed by PD.
Yeah.
Your girlfriend works for the cops, but she works, I mean,
But, my, my girlfriend wants to chime in.
Okay.
She works with the victim services.
but I work for PD. I'm employed by PD.
I know.
So I mean,
She has a lot to say. Relax. She's not one of them, I swear.
It was just so random. It caught me off guard.
Wait, are we safe here? Is this a setup game? You son of a bitch! I knew it. I'm out of here.
I mean, we're
I've
already
had to like
public.
talk to fucking like high up city ranking officials, man. And like I work with government funded money, right? And I talk very fucking poorly of government spending, but yet I'm working for a company that's working in government projects, right? And I have to talk to those kind of people. So like I think that there's some ways to talk to some officials, and there's some ways that you can't talk to other officials. But like
yeah.
there's working with people on an individual basis, man.
I mean, I
Like-
work at a public school, so like I get it,
Yeah. So it I don't know, like working for
Don't
government
get fired.
institutions is kind of like a tough thing, right? Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
like is I can see how money is manipulated in the public works budget and get like infuriated about it and just like talk mad shit about public spending, but I also do a lot of work in that. So like I don't know how deep does the conviction have to go, or like is it fighting a ghost, or is it fighting something tangible, right? Because I could swear off all government contracts and then not have like much of a position in what I do, right? And I can't teach people things, and I can't be taught certain things, right?
Yeah, a lot
So-
of us are forced to operate in this system, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like and it's not even necessarily because like I think what becomes a problem is what's a viability of something parallel to this one, right? Or
Yeah.
something that diverts course from this one. Like how much do you know? How much can you build a society? Like what is it that you can do, right? Like I want to learn everything I can do so that I can be a better and more equipped like individual to deal with a multitude of situations, right? So like it if I want to build something with a bunch of with a bunch of people eventually, or I want to stop fucking working for the man and kind of do something different as far as a career path goes, like I have to have a certain skill set, and like you have to be able to ascertain skill sets. Like people go to college, right? But college is a
Yeah.
fucking racket, and people get student debts, and that's a fucking racket. But like, what else can you do? You know? Like,
Yeah.
it's weird. Like,
The thing that sucks about college too is like, what if you just love learning and you want to go to some place where like you'll have all that material, formulated already for you because it's like, oh man, like it's just so cool, like being able to, like see a dope ass course and like be like, oh fuck yeah, I can't wait for this course. And then you get
yeah,
to the course, you have a dope ass professor, and it's like the entire time you have like some of the best, like most substantive discussions ever, and like you're giving presentations, you're like building on what you already know and synthesizing it, and it's like, you take stuff with you that you'll carry with, for the rest of your life or for at least a good amount of time after you leave college. So like that's the part about higher education that sucks, is because it's like, it's like the pure in a pure sense, like it's so cool, but in
Yeah,
reality, it's
I
not like
dropped out of
that.
college, man, but there was one class that I loved the most, and it was the Latin drug wars in Latin America. Um, I got an A in that class. Like this little city college taught like drug wars in Latin America, and like this shit is so cool. Like that excited me the most, but like I hated everything else. All the other classes I took.
Hmm.
You look at some of these job applications too now, and they'll say, "Yeah, you need a 4-year degree." Oh, but we're going to pay you like $10 an hour. You're like,
dude, that
Yeah,
shit is
it's
out of
like,
control, right?
yeah.
you're like, wait, what? That's no, that's all ass backwards. And when I was a kid, it was just like the big push. It was just like you go to college, you go to college, you go to college, because that's how you get a good job, right? And that's not really the case anymore. Now, if you go to a trade school,
Oh yeah.
you're more likely to get a really high paying job if you get your education from a trade school than anywhere, even from a 2-year college. Uh, like some of these community colleges that are, I mean, I went to a community college that was also geared as a trade school too. So it was like if you didn't want to do the whole 4 years, you could do 2 years, get your core stuff out of the way, but then you could also do your tech stuff too if you wanted to, as well. Those kind of schools are great. And that's
Hmm.
if you want just a career, you want to work. But if you want a well-rounded education where you get the arts and humanities in there, as well as your maths and sciences and your histories and your whole 9 yards, you shouldn't have to wonder if someday you're going to go bankrupt from the very thing that was supposed to be benefiting you financially.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's just not like that anymore. Everything at college is expensive. I
Hmm.
mean,
Yeah.
Glory's. I mean, I'm no college student myself, but Glory could probably tell you that shit. Everything at college,
It keeps getting more
books,
expensive too.
yeah, food, everything is expensive, right?
Yeah.
And what are they doing?
Housing.
They're paying these fucking football coaches millions of dollars and shit.
Ugh.
They could be giving those, people scholarships and stuff with
Oh
that
yeah.
kind of money.
Yep.
You know, that's their priority. That's where we're at in this country. We got to
Yeah.
make sure the football team, they're number one in the nation. We got to make sure they're taken care of.
Yeah, fucking 30K seating stadium, whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, 30K a semester in some cases.
Dude, those stadiums are like
Yeah.
billions of dollars. Like the Vegas Stadium for the Raiders, that was like,
Oof.
Billions. Yeah.
dude, like it was basically an open checkbook because I'm a union man, right? Like, so I was working with some people that came from the 357, which is that local, electrical local, um, wireman local, and they were making like fucking 80K or 80 bucks an hour,
Hmm.
and a lot of them were making per diem on top of that, and like, right, because they can fucking pay. That shit is fucking insane how much those stadiums cost. Like, how much of an industry that is, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a palace. And a lot of these places look like you go in there and you're just like, what, Jesus Christ, where's the fucking football game? This is just this, like, nothing but like a big ass mall you just walked into or some shit.
Yeah, and then like the capital depletion that's caused as a result, right? Like once something like that is built and like the taxes go through the roof, it's almost like immediately gentrified.
Oh, 100%.
And like we've had fights over here, like in some of the oldest neighborhoods, like where like it's old viejitas and viejos, right? Like they're just like they're retirees, man. So if they were to build a stadium right there, sure, it'd be great for the economy, but they would all like be forced out of their homes, all these retired people, and have nowhere to fucking go, right? Like it's crazy to watch. Like those basically are like public works projects that just sack the entire fucking public. It's fucking insane, man. Like,
Yeah, for
well,
a
I mean, they have
football
like,
stadium.
oh yeah,
Yeah, because
have
they tried that in New
entire,
York too. They tried to put like a stadium on Manhattan Island or something like that, and they were like, nah.
yeah, well, I mean, and they're trying to build like all kinds of fucking stadiums around LA. Like they're trying to build a fucking Clipper Stadium. A couple years ago, they built SoFi, which is just like, God forbid you get caught in like fucking game day traffic in Inglewood thanks to SoFi. And they
University
also have
knows the
the
rules.
Yeah, they have the 2028 Olympics coming there too. So like there's a no, like it's, I'm pretty sure it's spelled like no Olympics, like one word with only one O, but like no Olympics Committee LA, because it's just like you guys already pointed out, there's like these massive public works projects that just fucking tear up the entire city and almost never benefit the actual people in said city.
Oh. You can't. Well, and then when they build these fucking things, they have to jack up the prices on everything too. So even if you wanted to enjoy the fucking thing, you can't afford it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you go to a fucking baseball game and it costs you $100. You're like, what the fuck is this? It's like this is supposed to be a little, inexpensive distraction, and now it's just become this giant monster. It's a propaganda machine too.
Just
Because
food.
their and their relationship with the military too, right? So like in the NFL, you have all these things like the stars.
Worst.
They have like these
Yeah,
flags
the-
out and all these people
The
in
jets
uniforms.
flying
The
overhead.
jets flying over.
Yeah.
The military pays the NFL to let them do that. That's just they're paying for advertising. It's basically what it is. But the NFL makes it sound like, oh, we're celebrating our troops. We're celebrating all those that defend America.
NFL's like, hey,
Them some bitches out there
Yeah.
every day working hard for you and me. Fly them fucking planes over the goddamn football field, you son of a bitch. Put your hand over your heart, you damn fucking commie motherfucker. The fuck's wrong with you? You made me spit, you son of a bitch.
Why is that so fucking accurate though?
Yeah.
Well done.
You're in Florida, you know those people.
Oh, I do.
Fuck you, you fucking terrorist. I'm a white guy. What the fuck? Where did that even come from?
Hate
Bro,
America.
the
Just hate
fucking
America.
shit that's been hurled at us at these fucking Palestine protests. Go back to Iran. What? Like,
Are they
what?
still using towel head? Do they still call people towel heads? Because that was a thing back in the day.
That's terrible.
It's very, very sparingly. Nowadays, it's Hamas, and the
Yeah.
the thing that I hear is like we're all Iranian. We should all
that
be
is new.
deported.
Yeah, before you were Palestinians, now you're Iranians, so you're working your way up.
Yeah. Well, because the big idea, right, is that everything is an Iranian proxy. So
Sure.
like nobody has any autonomy for their own. We're just proxies of someone else. And the other thing too is that we're all illegal immigrants. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
let's get the fuck out of America. And it's
Every
like
4 years, they got to bring that up.
they are, and like
Immigration, they're taking our jobs.
Hey, you
I
don't
get
like it?
tempted
Get the
to
fuck
start
out.
checking some of these people. I really do, because it's like, my guy, granted, I don't like, the state structure that exists in Florida. I don't like the fucking, there's very few things I like about this state, but the things that I do like about Florida are the things that makes Florida Florida. You know, the fucking river of grass just to the west of me, the fucking coastline, you know, some of the people, not all of the people, but some of the people. And and yeah, just so much more to do with like what actually makes Florida Florida. So it's like, listen, dog, if if we were to start like, you know, having a fucking dick measuring contest here, I can tell you right now, I probably have more of, you know, alligator in my hands. I probably have more of an argument
Alligator
compelling me to
blood.
remain in this very here state than you do. So fuck off.
It's in your
Just like
veins.
yeah, but it's like I'm not like I know that that's not a principled argument. So I'm not going to be that person. So I'm not going to be that person. But
Yeah.
it's like sometimes they tempt me. They do.
Hmm.
Are you guys curious about what the results are right
Oh God.
now?
Yeah, the East Coast results have been coming in. You know what? Fuck it. I don't know what
Yo,
to say.
it's 177 Trump, 99 Harris right now.
Oh no, Senate Republic.
I'm curious to see how people react. But you know, at the end of the day, like we've been all been talking about, like we're the ones that lose,
Yeah.
and the lobbyists will win.
I
But
mean, I gotta be up at fucking 6:20 tomorrow morning for work, so I'm gonna fucking sleep through all this shit. I don't care what people are gonna say.
oh yeah,
I'll,
Same.
I'll, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna reenact it. Hopefully I won't wake up to my alarm because it's, you know, daylight savings and all that, and I don't really like waking up to an alarm. So I'll wake up maybe at like 6:15. I'll have a spare 5 minutes before my alarm goes off. I'll, you know, take my morning sip, and then I'll grab my phone, check the time. I'll say, oh, I got a couple minutes until I gotta start getting ready. Oh wow, that's the election results. We're fucked. Now let me get ready to teach some kids.
we're effed o'clock.
Yep.
Yeah. Like
After
imagine
o'clock.
like being all obsessive and angry about fucking like all the fucking political shit that's going on and you're trying to teach kids.
Well,
Yeah.
let me tell you, there is so much shit that's just like that I have to worry about with fucking teaching students in an autism cluster classroom. So like, trust me, I don't
Yeah.
want to deal with your election bullshit. I love my students,
Yeah.
and so I'm gonna devote my energy to them right now.
There are some kids invested in it just because like they absorb some of that energy from their parents.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
not my kids though. My kids
That's
don't give a
good.
fuck. It's so
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Like
I think that's the
Glory's like,
majority of them.
Glory's like, you kids shut the fuck up about politics. I don't want to hear it
Well,
today.
also, I teach elementary school, so it's like they don't really give a fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good too.
yeah.
That's probably the best ones to teach at this point. Because they ain't all up in that shit yet. You know, they're doing the little TikToks and stuff like that and having fun with their little filters, the little IG filters. You know, those little kids, they love that shit. They don't need to know the real world yet. They'll learn it
Hmm.
soon enough.
Well, it's like that's the thing too. It's like I'm trying to subtly plant seeds, you know? Like when
Yeah.
I fucking cook up my science plans, I'm like, oh, you know what? Like let's talk about the ocean and how we don't want to pollute
I'm
it
gonna
and
go get Lone
fucking
Star.
yeah.
Okay.
I would be the worst teacher in the world
Let's
because
do
I'd
it.
walk in that classroom every day and go,
Ah,
y'all gonna fucking die. All right, I'm out. See you. They'd be like the worst teacher ever. They'd be like, how did we even hire this guy? Where the fuck did he come from? He was only here one day. I don't know how you do that though. I don't know how. I guess you just have to do your job and teach the kids what you have to teach them. But at the same time, you just want to put your arms around them, just like, I'm sorry, sweetie, things are about to get a lot worse, you know. But how do you do that? How do you tell them? You don't want to break their hearts that early,
Nah,
but you got to
I
get them
can't do
ready.
it.
You got to get them ready.
You just gotta prepare them. You just gotta teach them little things like, you know, how to like have some, like say it with your chest, you know, like how to have that little bit of conviction behind you. And it's like, if you can get that going, if you can get some principles going, like you got this, trust me.
That would be nice. Principles, yes, that's what do they say? They come at a premium these days. I mean, there's people who have them, but it seems like they're getting shut out for these other louder voices that that don't want they call you a litmus test, or they call you like a purist or something like that, and you're just like, dude, I'm just trying to do what's right.
Yeah.
That's it. I ain't trying to be nobody's savior or preacher, none of that shit.
It's
I'm
not
just trying to
rocket
do.
science, man.
Yeah. What is the fucking problem with having a litmus test, right? Like,
Maybe we
what
should
is-
have one.
yeah, like a legitimate one, like not some arbitrary shit.
Right
like,
before I start like collaborating with a lot of my former colleagues, I was told I was being a purist. The same argument that like Hillary supporters would give to like Bernie supporters, and
Yeah.
now those same
For
people
what?
were saying
Having
that to me.
principles, man?
Yeah.
For not liking pedophiles? For not wanting to endorse someone who's fucking actively fomenting a genocide? No, multiple genocides, plural. That ain't a fucking. That's not a purity fetish or whatever. It's just
Yeah.
a basic fucking. Like I don't even want to call it a litmus test. It's just basic fucking principles.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing to not know, like it's one thing to be, random Kamala supporter number 242 from I don't know, from Bakersfield, California, that don't know shit, whose eyes glaze over a bit when you try to tell them about what's happening in fucking, like there's a difference between that person and, a fucking there's a difference between that person and Kamala Harris herself, who knows what she's doing. Or, for instance, someone who's a high level supporter or a high level commentator, like a fucking what's his face? Anderson Cooper. Who like, yes, he's fed talking points, but like the dude's been doing this long enough and he presents himself with like that air of professionalism and integrity where it's like, nah, bitch, you
Soullessness.
should know better.
Kamala
Yeah.
Harris can't orate for nothing. She's
Yeah.
not even a good politician. She's just horrible.
Yeah. And it's
Mm-hmm.
the same shit for these fuckheads and fucking in independent and alt and new media or whatever they're called these days, where it's just like, oh yes, I know better because I see through the Democrats' illusion and I see through the two-party illusion. But let me talk about how Donald Trump is actually the lesser of two evils.
It's
And
like how Polly put it. It's just media these days.
Yeah,
it's
just
just
media.
media.
If you're one of those fuckheads that gets up there and knows all that you know, and pretends that you know better, but you're still spewing the same bullshit, then nah, guess what? The principles are gonna apply to your ass. Like,
Yeah,
no.
like they're just spewing out narratives as
They
opposed
support
to
genocide,
sticking
but I
mostly to
mean,
the facts.
Dude, like, okay, it's a mainstream story, right? So it's like, forgive me for knowing a mainstream story and not like all the fucking juicy fucking like hardcore ones, right? Do you guys remember when that fucking endorsement came out of fucking Kamala by the Cheney family, including Dick?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
do you remember that? Like, I lost my mind on that, dude. I'm like, do none of you remember Darth Cheney? Like, I'm
Darth
old
Cheney.
enough to fucking remember a world before 9/11, god damn it. Like, how do you not remember this shit? Like,
It wasn't that long ago either. It was not that
Dude.
long ago.
Well, the
fucking
problem was,
millions of people are dead because of that. Fucking
Yeah.
but the
creature.
problem is the Bush administration was fucking partially rehabilitated during Trump's first terms when liberals were all fucking,
Yeah.
oh, well, George Bush may have sanctioned and starved and bombed and looted and plundered various regions around the world, but
half a
at
million
least he
kids. I
had a
mean,
bit of
Yeah.
decency.
Oh,
And it's like,
man.
are you fucking dog? What?
Like,
Michelle
and
Obama
at that
hugging
point,
Bush.
I realized I'm as old as fucking Bernie. Because you remember when Bernie did that on the campaign trail with Kissinger?
Oh God, yeah.
When he was
What?
like, fucking Kissinger loves this bitch. And everyone's
Yeah.
like, what's the deal, dude? Like, that was like 50 years ago, bro. Calm down. right?
I remember that.
And I'm like,
They're like, get
oh,
over
well, I
it.
guess Darth Cheney murdered fucking millions of people fucking, like, I don't know, like almost 20 years ago. So, I mean, like,
They're
it's
coming
whatever.
together to save our
I
democracy. You
vividly
just don't
remember.
get it.
I
Yeah.
vividly remember when Cheney was portrayed as the villain by the Democrats.
Yeah, and they were calling
He
him
was
Darth
sick.
Vader and shit the whole
Mhm.
time. He said he had like 8 hearts or some shit. You know, he was the fucking evilest fucking fucker in the house. And now he's just like, just because Bush gave Big Mike some candy, everything's good now.
I
You know,
vividly
it's like,
remember them villainizing McCain, but then very shortly after that, they embraced him.
oh yeah, Mr. Bomb 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 Iran.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
motherfucker. Yeah. That's all they do. They when once they die, or if they've been shot at like Trump is, they're like, oh, you poor thing, are
I
you
do remember the
okay?
reaction, yeah.
Are you okay?
All the
So
Democrats are
listen,
saying the same thing.
listen, guys, okay? Assassinations and political violence only happens outside of the United States and Western Europe, okay?
That's true.
That is not a civilized thing to do. What do you think this is? You think this is a third world country? You think that this is a place like Iran
That is the sense
or
I was
Congo
getting.
where we
Iran.
assassinated?
They were saying it.
You think this is like Congo where we assassinated their leader who tried to unite the country after centuries of being plundered and genocided by Western empires?
Gaddafi.
You think
I say,
Yeah,
oh boy.
you think this is like Libya where their president was brutally
Libya?
sodomized and murdered? You
I
think
say, oh
you
boy.
think this is like Haiti where we assassinated their presidents and cooed one of them twice for daring to want to raise the minimum wage for our poor tailors? You think this is like you think this is like Chile?
No,
I'm just about
that's a
to go
whole.
down the line. It's
You
it's
can just
like,
list all the
oh,
countries out there.
I know.
Fucking, oh man. What do you think, like, the fucking, the darlings of the first wave of independent media are gonna say tomorrow?
Oof,
Do you
man,
think
they're
that
gonna
it's
have a
gonna be
field
like a
day.
dud
Oh,
Either
as
no.
far
way.
as viewership? Like, do you think like tomorrow's gonna be a dud for viewership on, like, like TYT and fucking secular talk and all those guys? Like, do you think it's gonna be a dud for their viewership tomorrow, or do you think that like it's gonna be the best year ever for them financially?
I think it's gonna be less than what they got in 2020. I think that they were like 2016 was when they were gaining traction. 2020 was like their peak. After that, people got over it. People got over and
Yeah.
just media, right?
Well,
They,
and new people took their place, you know.
yeah,
So now instead of fucking TYT, you have former TYT employee who's out here doing fucking Rumble time with Tucker Carlson, Jimmy Dore.
yeah. But even he's
So it's
like,
like,
even his show is suffering now. Like people aren't interested in him anymore. They view his show as like, oh, like this stuff is old. Like the
Well,
kind
you
of
know,
it's
when
not edgy
Bernie
anymore.
around 20, yeah, I think 2016 was probably the peak of that, because that was where everybody was just kind of like about as together as you were going to get them, right? Because Bernie had just come out of, and there were people even back then who were saying, Bernie's bullshit. We should probably listen to them. But he did bring probably more of the actual left together than anybody else has, at least as far back as I can
Yeah, plus some
remember.
libertarians.
But then that's the thing. It's like if you don't have a solid core to a cohesive core that holds everybody together, it's just going to go to shit. And that's all it was. It was a dream. We wanted Bernie to actually be this person who is just going to clean the house and stuff like that. And then,
Looking for a fucking savior, man.
right?
Mhm.
Yes, looking for a savior,
The
because
DNC screwed up so bad.
Yeah.
nobody was stepping up to be that savior role.
Yeah,
And that's what people were waiting on, was someone to step up to be the savior role.
Yeah.
Bernie did it for a little bit, but then petered out when he
Acquiesced.
when he acquiesced twice. Uh,
Twice.
So, but that was the thing. Once the whole Bernie facade had crumbled, then there was no cohesion. So everybody just kind of went wandering in the desert again in their own
They
ways.
went
And
back
that's
to
why
work.
so your whole group of this whole clump of people wasn't watching your Jimmy Dores or your TYTs or your Kyle Kalinskis or any of these shows. Now they have a new generation of shows to be cultists for,
Yeah.
which is
Where
very
it's
disturbing.
where they're just pushing their viewers to support either of the two major candidates now that there is no Bernie in the picture.
Right, yeah. And which side are you on depends on, whatever's going to get you more clicks and more, super chats and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's all money game. I think Ryan Christian said that too.
Yeah,
it's
it's
all
like-
money game.
Yeah.
And you know what you're doing, Franco, and what a lot of people in this space are doing, trying to do something different, not quite as what do they call it, grifty, where you actually you're doing something that's actually a positive benefit. And I don't think people, because that doesn't really make you a lot of money in this space. So, you have to have all that clickbaity, know how to work the algorithm and stuff so you can get your channel huge. And then to what end, right? Are you affecting any kind of changes?
Well, you got to get your channel bigger so that you can get more donations, and you
Right.
got to get more donations so that you can get your channel bigger.
So you
Because
can
if you
get
get
more
your channel bigger,
donations.
you can get more donations, and if you get more donations, then you can get your channel bigger.
A lot of
At
them have
Ouroboros.
they have dead weight subscribers because a lot of them have
Yeah.
moved on and are watching other stuff and they just forgot to unsubscribe.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. You see, they're like, how do these people still have like 40 or 50,000 people? And then, yeah, you're right. It's just like they've moved on, but they didn't even bother to unsubscribe or whatever. They probably just turned off notifications and said, fuck it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
dude, like it was crazy to watch some of those fucking drop off from like 170, 180 fucking like subscribers, right? And then like look at their channel a year later, it's like 30,000. Like,
Yeah.
wow, man.
Well, even
Wow.
or just watch like the retention of how many people are actually watching it, because like like you guys were mentioning, like how many of those subscribers are just dead subscribers. Like I wish there was a solid fucking statistic on how many of fuckhead Mr. Beast fucking subscribers were actually just dead subscribers who went, oh shit, if I subscribed I might be in a Mr. Beast video, and completely forgot
Yeah.
they subscribed.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Beast.
I got a couple
Yeah, he's
channels
got-
who I
Fuck
haven't
that
watched
guy.
in like years who I'm still
Fuck
subscribed
that
to.
guy.
He's like,
Fuck
like a
Mr.
couple
Beast.
100 million subs or some shit like that. It's a
Oh,
He's the
ridiculous
number
amount.
one. Yeah, he's the most subscribed YouTube channel because the bitch is a human fucking algorithm.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
Yeah, he
insane.
profits off of, doing nice things, but for views, not because he genuinely actually means it,
Elon and the Musks fucking experimented on that bastard first. He learned the algorithm. He
Pretty
became
much.
the algorithm, and the algorithm is him.
yeah.
Yeah, he's the lawnmower man. He just put the phone to his head and then
Yeah.
just like he contacted all the things.
Yeah.
That's just gonna happen for real though. That lawnmower man shit. I think that's gonna happen with some AI or something like that. Some AI is gonna say, "Fuck it, I'm gonna take over the world," and then they're gonna get up in all your house, all your smart home shit. You're gonna
It's
make
already
your,
happened. It's already
You know.
happened.
They're gonna make your toaster rip your dick off. They're gonna make your it's just shit like that.
Castrated in a freak toaster accident.
Oh,
Sir,
God.
how did you get your penis inside this toaster? Never mind, sir. Some things we don't need to put in the report.
What do you mean the blow dryer ripped off your ball sack?
Alexa's cursing you out in Icelandic because she knows you don't know, and so she can say whatever the fuck she wants to you because you're a dumb piece of shit.
Bro, never mind that shit. Those fucking Alexas are already fucking spying on you. So are all your electric cars. Bro, like, I never understood. Like, first of all, I ain't even like most newer cars to begin with because they're like half computer. And
Right.
it's like, And it's like some of these like newer cars, they'll do that shit where it's like you try to make a lane change and then it'll like
Oh
swerve you
no,
back
I'm
into the
never
lane you were
doing
in, and
that.
it's like, no, I'm trying to make a fucking lane change, dog. You not know how to drive. So it's
Yeah.
like, bro, and now they got fucking like what is it, like Tesla cyber buses or whatever and fucking nonce-mobiles or whatever. So it's like they got all kinds of shit now. It's just like,
Dude, somebody
how
could
about
blow a
no?
cigarette smoke in front of one of those driverless cars and that shit'll crash. Because it just has like no fucking. There was like it killed somebody, T-boned somebody like not too long ago, maybe last year or something. It was a driverless car. It was just like a little mist outside. It was just a smidge foggy, and that was it.
Mhm.
Game over.
Bro, the amount of Teslas that were wrecked by Hurricane Milton and that hit Florida, it's like you had all these fucking Elon customers being like, I can't get into my car. It won't open at all. What do I do? My Tesla's gone. I don't know. And it's like, yeah, it's a horrible situation, but like, dog, come on.
Dog, we will coo whoever we want. Just tell them that.
Look, all
Yeah,
you gotta
bro.
do, you got your backup on your flash drive, right? You take your flash drive and you stick it in the where you put your key there, right? And then you're gonna be poof and everything works again on Tesla.
You remember Musk said that? He said, oh, someone called him out on Twitter like, you're cooing Bolivia right now, and he replied, "Well, whoever we want, deal with it."
Yep, that's
Oh yeah.
never gonna be erased from my memory.
Yeah.
So
The thing
Fuck that guy.
too is like all the electric vehicle companies are thinking it. They just won't say it because it's like there's like there's like a tiny bit of like a hierarchy that exists within the electric vehicle community where it's like, well, actually, Teslas are pretty low on the totem pole. I actually own an electric Audi, or well, I have an electric Mercedes-Benz C-Class Plus. So, my model is inherently superior to yours. Well, at least we're both better than the Teslas. And it's
where'd you
like,
get that cobalt? Where'd you get that
yeah,
lithium from?
all y'all are in the same fucking boat of plundering resources from the African continent and from South America, and hopefully not, but maybe eventually the bottom of the ocean. So fuck right off, fuck right off.
All right, guys, you guys have some closing remarks? Because I'm trying to go to sleep early today, and I enjoyed my time with you guys.
Late as fuck over there, all sick, huh?
Huh?
It's all late over there, huh? It's like 9:30
Yeah,
already.
it's 9:30. We used to do these shows like till like 11. You remember that? But I'm trying to have a different.
We're lightweights now.
You
Yeah.
should have some more of
Franco, we
these.
got
though.
so fucking old, dog. Y'all, like Franco turned 30. I'm fucking 24 now. We're lightweights now.
Yeah,
We
30s,
can't, we
man.
can't, like, we can't go until like 10 o'clock without having to go lie down in our bed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta wake up at like 6 a.m. every day now.
Look, you guys get no pity from the old guy here. Do you know how full my bladder is right now? I don't think you do. I don't think you do. But yet here I am in fellowship. Glory, is it? In fellowship with my friends, about to just my back teeth are floating. But
And
yet
your
I'm here.
eyeballs are turning
Glory.
yellow.
No, I feel you. You old people, man, y'all need to get to bed and stop this fucking complaining, man. Jesus Christ.
All right, let's go around here. Let's go with Glory first. Closing remarks.
Yeah, sleeping is lit, so is One
Yes,
Piece.
it is.
So
Yes,
is
it is
Attack on
too.
Titan and
lit.
Mob Psycho 100. I promise, yeah, nah, just like I said, it's not easy. I
Mm-mm.
certainly haven't found the perfect balance, but at the end of the day, we're all humans, so we can try to find that balance between, again, maintaining our sanity, being able to escape some of this madness while also, fighting it and trying to, do what we can to raise people's collective consciousness so that way, we can get out of this mess. Yeah.
Well said. Polly?
Disconnect. Do some of that Terrence McKenna shit of like turn off, unplug, fucking butt plug, do whatever that shit is that you do. Um, Spread out the obsessions and
Yeah,
I don't know.
find
Learn
hobbies.
Yeah. Learn things too, right? Learn things and teach things. If you want to build a better world, how are you going to build a better world if you don't know how to build it? And if you are concerned about what you're going to do with the rest of your life, there's definitely work in the trades.
Hmm.
There's definitely a lot of work in the
and
trades.
in teaching,
Yeah.
And
because Florida has a shortage.
everyone has a shortage of all the trades.
Yeah.
So go to your nearest union.
Yeah,
and
if you
sign
wanna
up.
if you wanna if you wanna build something or if you wanna teach future generations.
That's the Lord's work.
Yeah. Game dot.
I would say we were talking about Iran, right? So the U.S. and the West, they want to destroy Iran. Right before that was Ukraine. Right before that was, or during that time was Palestine, Gaza, in 75 years. But then before that, what do we got? Like, okay, George Bush did Iraq War, Clinton did
Yeah.
Yugoslavia. Before that, George Bush did God knows how many war crimes, but like every country is like a target of U.S. imperialism and a vote for that um, Trump or Kamala Harris. The Zionists, like they just want to destroy the whole goddamn world. South America, East Asia, all that stuff, man. So I'm just so mad about imperialism, period. So, yeah, that's all I
Nice.
gotta say.
And then finally, we got Ward Dearman. We appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you. Appreciate all y'all here.
Yeah.
It's like old home week. Getting everybody together here. We need to do this more often,
Yeah.
Franco.
Therapy session.
So, yeah, yeah. It's like you said when you were talking about venting. We should vent, but not like make it a career.
Right.
Because you need to have you're the reason you're venting is to make room for the more positive stuff, right? But if you keep venting, then that spigot's always open, and there's no way for the good to stay in there. It always gets washed out. So I just think, like in the spirit of the show, um, you know, talk to your people, talk to your friends, the people you love, the people you trust. Ground yourself, keep one foot in the real, to see what's going on, to see what kind of, like I said, fuckery is always afoot. You always got to keep an eye out for that. But look for the good things too, and give yourself some healthy, temporary distractions, so that you don't worry about all this stuff all the time. You need a little something to take your mind off things, so your mind can get fresh, and so you can deal with the real stuff when it comes back up again. So and try one last thing, try not to have hate in your heart, because hate only hurts yourself. It's a poison. It's an emotional attachment to someone or something that all it does, it doesn't hurt them. All it does is hurt you. You can dislike the fuck out of a
Yeah,
bunch of
well
people.
said.
I sure as fuck do. But I don't contain that negativity. Right. I try to do things to get that negativity out of me, like, doing some exercise or just like working on something else, keeping your mind busy. Keeping your mind busy and productive. That's the best thing that you can do, doing positive things. And then you don't worry about the negative stuff so much till it actually pops up, and then you have to deal with it. So,
Yeah, well said, Warren.
well, thank you. Sometimes I say good things, not always, but sometimes a little nugget comes out.
All right, guys. I appreciate all of you guys. This is very nostalgic. As always, had a great conversation with you guys. Yeah, that's the end, guys.
Bye bye.
Our purpose.
Thanks a lot. All right, stream's over.